So let's move on. Oh, Mayor Pete. Plus, there's a difference between a formulation and drug. Not all formulations are available for import. True. But I mean, regardless, insulin is insulin for the most part. Like, whether it's fast acting or slow acting, like, there's not any need for innovation there. It just kind of works as insulin. He didn't understand that. He actually used the phrase they could make it more targeted and work faster in fast acting insulins. And I'm like, that's not how it works. That's not how insulin works. You said so much stupid. I think he was mixing up the... Oh, were you there for that? I didn't even see if you were there for that. Mixing up the availability of formulations, including insulin versus insulin itself. Yes. Well, not even just that. It's just he didn't even know what insulin did. He didn't even know what insulin did. Like, you don't need to know all that much in order to like understand the difference between fast acting and slow acting and what they're used for, and saying that, oh, well, people are probably trying to save money by buying fast acting. Like, that's not how it works. I've been reading a book on neurology. I feel like most people don't realize that when you don't know something, your brain will just rationalize a made-up answer for you. Yeah, he was just an ignorant fuck. Just 100%. But it made me entirely happy to go in and just light him the fuck up. I stayed up way too late, but I did it for an hour. My throat still hurts today. But, like, I saw that there was a deficit among the panel. I love everyone in there. They're all very knowledgeable on various subjects, but there was a little bit of a deficit in knowing the ins and outs of the United States healthcare system from the inside. So I wanted to provide that because... Yeah, seriously. Same here. Like I said, I lit him the fuck up. I'm proud of what I did last night. I don't like railroading people's streams. That's my big regret. Mayor Pete. I share a lot of the same values as people protesting my fundraisers. Do you now? Oh, honey. South Bend, Indiana, Mayor Pete Buttigieg said on Friday that he shares a lot of the same beliefs as the individuals protesting the high-dollar fundraisers for his presidential campaign. I share the belief. I don't care about the act. Link to what? This story? It is a little strange because I think I share the same values and goals of a lot of these people. Oh, the article? Yeah. There you go. The Democratic candidate told journalist Robert Costa. Buttigieg added that he found it difficult to have a conversation with the protesters. It's because you're listening to them speak, and then you're going, I hear you. All right, well, will you do the thing that shows that you actually understand this? No. It kind of doesn't matter what your values are when your intentions are to show your actions. Jesus Christ. Mayor's campaign has come under scrutiny for holding high-dollar fundraisers and announced on Monday. By the way, Pete Buttigieg has the most billionaires backing him out of any presidential candidate right now. That's why he's being criticized for this. We can't just solve problems. We have to be realistic about doing nothing. Good one. Good one. Hell yes. That's a message I can get behind. The mayor's campaign announced on Monday the events would be open to reporters and the names of campaign bundlers would be disclosed amid growing pressure from progressives over transparency. Buttigieg held a number of fundraisers in New York City this week, including at the homes of tech investor Kevin Ryan and Vogue editor Anna Wintour. Protesters gathered outside of the fundraisers and could be heard chanting Wall Street Pete. Oh, it just rolls off the tongue. It rolls off the tongue better than his stupid fucking last name. Yes, I am going to be petty about his last name. It's okay. It's okay. I'm just a petty person. It's okay. Some people don't learn from their mistakes. To be fair, it was an online poll, so whatever. How does he have so many great derogatory nicknames? The dude just sucks, okay? He's got a punchable face, I'm sorry, in a video game. He just sucks. He has no substance. He always comes off as reading off a script, and if you push back on him on the least, he gets fucking bitchy as hell. Like, you can see the petulance whenever another candidate backs him into a corner in a debate by asking like one question of his bullshit. Like, seriously, he's so bad. Buttigieg and his campaign have touted his campaign's grassroots support in the face of the scrutiny, noting that it has raised nearly 2 million separate donations from over 700,000 individuals through the primary season. The mayor also noted this week how much money would be needed to defeat Trump in the general election, given the president's massive campaign bank balance. He is... I'm not going to do the dance. I'm sorry. I'm just not. I don't dance for money. Well, there was that one time in my life. But no, never again. Punch of a face does not imply any actual violence, in my opinion. I just, I don't want to test it. We are getting ready for the fight of our lives, Buttigieg said on CBS this morning. We're going up against Donald Trump and his allies who... Hi. Okay. Sorry. Zoe time. When she wants to come and show me love, I just have to do it, Okay. Good girl. Sorry about that. Yep, doggo. When she decides she needs attention, she just runs up to me. She's a quiet pup. She's just a quiet, clumsy pup. We're going up against Donald Trump and his allies, who I believe raised $125 million just in the last quarter in order to stay in power. If somebody wants to contribute to my campaign to support us in taking on Donald Trump, then we're going to need to bring everything we've got to that fight. Which is why he switched from being for Medicare for all as a single-payer health system to being Medicare for all who want it. Which is a dumb way of saying I'm offering a public option, and that public option is going to be whittled down to basically nothing but like aesthetic changes to the ACA. No, you won't. Yeah, she's a good pupper. She's a sweetheart. Like I said, if I yell too much, she gets really scared and she runs up here to check on me. It's a big reason why I don't like to get yelly. It's because of her. She starts shaking really bad. Us getting yelly and the smoke alarm are the two things that really set her off like that. She's a sweetheart. Of course she was a... I love your talk. You are not alone. You are not alone. Everyone who meets her is just like, she is so sweet. She basically forces her love on you. But yeah, Pete ain't it. Pete ain't it. He's lying, of course. He's taking that money because he agrees with them. He's having his political opinions and policies bought for him. This is what he does. This is the reason why the media likes him. That's it. Oh, of course. Every day. This is just announced. Governor Whitmer wants to allow more refugees in Michigan. She's such a wishy-washy governor. She goes back and forth on this. And there is a possibility that our Congress will block it, but, at least she's saying it. What is the name of his big donor company? Oh, yeah, the company he worked for. Fuck, what was their name? Company. McKinsey, that was the firm he worked for. Like, didn't he work for... Yeah. No, don't apologize for that. But yeah, I'm really glad for this. We need to... This is definitely something that our governor needs to do. Make a stand for Michigan and show that we're not going to just be bigots. For one thing, we have a pretty decent population of Arab, Muslim people. Everyone has heard about Dearborn. Flint has a pretty decent population of Muslim immigrants too. Just why not? Like, no one. Every time people try to explain this, it all boils down to, oh, they bring crime, oh, Sharia law, oh, all this stuff, and then you debunk it, and it's like, you just don't like the brown skin, do you? Let's be honest here. You just don't like their brown skin. Excuse me. I'm trying to remember to play an ad more, because that's more revenue for me. And I need that. But let's see. We'll get in the story in just a second. Let's see how many people it's taken in. Governor Gretchen Whitmer is declaring Michigan open to receive refugees hoping to resettle in the United States. She sent a letter to... Ads are your favorite. Come on, man. She sent a letter to U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo offering written consent for the state to receive refugees. The permission was required under a September 26 executive order from President Donald Trump. Michigan has a rich history of welcoming refugees and other immigrants to our state, Whitmer said. We recognize the value of being a welcoming state and the contribution of refugees to the fabric of our communities. I am committed to ensuring that we remain a leader in responding to the needs of globally displaced families and individuals. Do you really? Wow. It's one of those things where when you look at what McKinsey Consulting Group has done, you're pretty sure Pete will do anything for money, which explains the big money donors. Yes, true. That's why I didn't get that gift earlier. I was watching ad for you. I appreciate that. It is nice that they finally allowed affiliates to be able to get ad revenue. Oh wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, it's like pennies on the dollar, but it helps. But good on Governor Whitmer for standing up for people of Michigan and saying that we're not going to be dumb, stupid bigots. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Deserve water, yes. I gotta check on the thing. I'll be right back, guys. The thing with doing it in Flint though is like it's going to it's gonna have to be when it's warmer because it's so fucking cold out. I can't do that. I'm not built for cold weather. Even though I'm born and raised here, I'm not built for cold weather. All right, let's get into this story. White House limits number of officials allowed to listen to Trump calls with foreign leaders, report. Gee, I wonder why. It would be cool if people had like a super good automated little drone flying around and keeping the camera on them. That would probably freak people out. Yes, it would. It really would. Especially local authorities. They'd be weirded out about that. Like my brother always complains. He lives in like an upper class neighborhood. And like he always tells me that he sees people flying around with drones above his house and stuff with little cameras on them, like from the neighborhood. And he's like, he's very anti-gun like me, but he's like, my only reason to ever buy a gun would be to shoot one of those motherfuckers out of the sky. He's like, it's so intrusive. They're just coming to spy on us. It's like, what if we, decide to have a night in our hot tub? Like, fucking, it's our property. We can do that. But apparently not, because dumbass wants to fly his fucking drone above us and spy. Like, Jesus Christ. Even having 2-story neighbors. Yeah. All right. Let's see what description they want to go ahead and lie for why they want to limit how many people. Hey, Fresso. Good to see you. Fewer administration officials are allowed to listen to President Trump's phone calls with foreign leaders after the president's July 25th call with the leader of Ukraine became a central part of the House impeachment inquiry, CNN reported, citing White House sources. Transcripts of the calls are also being given to a smaller number of officials, sources told. Like, does any of this sound like it's... Hi, Zo. Does any of this sound like things that someone who didn't get caught breaking law or doing unconstitutional things would do? Let's be honest here. I know this is kind of a lib take, but seriously, like, innocent people don't do this. Like, he's sitting there going, yeah, this is how I got caught. And like, if you look at someone like President Obama, for example, like, I'm not his biggest fan, but things, whenever something was attempted to come out, he was responded by giving more transparency, not less. That's how you don't look guilty. No, Marc, it's because the deep state is on a witch hunt. He's got to protect himself from bad faith libs spinning the facts. And that's the funniest part, is like, it's not even that sort of thing. It's not even that sort of thing at all. She wants me to rub her. Welcome back, Majestical Balls. My dog came in here and she wanted more attention. What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Why are you up here bothering me? You know Daddy's streaming. I just wanted to show you guys her real quick. There we go. Sorry. I'm sorry. You wanted my attention. You wanted my attention. I gave it to you. Just because I wanted to show you off to my stream. Okay. Do you know any people who vote for Trump? What are their reasons? A lot of them talk about building the wall. They talk about immigration. The ones that have regretted it have talked about jobs. Those are the ones that can be honestly converted, because you can easily draw a direct line from, hey, the jobs haven't come back, have they? To, hey, Trump actually doesn't care about this. I mean, yeah, he decreased the taxes, but I honestly don't think that anymore that's a good thing to run on. You know what I mean? We've had a bad run in recent years in Denmark with our government legalizing more and more ways for politicians to cover their tracks and hide their affairs from the press and public. Yes, true. And this has been a constant problem in the U.S. too, especially under Trump. I work with some Trump supporters. One is uninformed and gets defensive just because people don't like to admit they made a mistake. The other is really informed and intelligent, but he's a Mormon and watches Ben Shapiro. That last guy's the lost cause. The first guy, a calm approach and asking a lot of questions. Like, really, this is what I found from my experience. Really kind of open questions that aren't too leading. Just basic information questions about what's going on. Like, hey, how did you feel about this, man? I don't really know what to make of it. Like, those people, if you're nice enough to them, they won't retract into their own ass, which is, not the best way of saying it. He can't not be conservative because his cultural background has him too entrenched. I talk to them about politics every time we go out for lunch or whatever. You're that guy. See, I try to sneak some stuff in. But being polite. The Mormon person, honestly, I would probably get annoyed with them and just be like, you aren't fucking worth talking to. IRC, Obama had some anti-transparency legislation too. No, it's a bit blurry for me right now, though. Maybe I misremember. I think it's a trend with nation states wanting to be less and less responsible towards their constituents. Yeah, there was some things that they became a lot more transparent about. The one thing that they became less transparent about under Obama was when the things about the NSA spying came out. I'm not sure how much Trump's legislation is because of Trump per se, and how much it's just because it's the zeitgeist and Trump just happened to be on the top as it's peaking. Well, it's really the Republican Party. It's really the Republican Party. Like, there are some really deluded libs and even more deluded conservatives who think that, Trump doesn't speak for me. Trump doesn't speak for me. But really, if you look at the makeup of the Republican Party, this is where they've been heading. Trump is the perfect Republican. He has no ideology. He does not care. He just cares about making money for himself and other rich people. He wants to be in the club of rich people. That's it. So he's using the federal government to do that. He's using it to make other people rich. He has no ideology beyond that. And he'll say whatever he needs to do to get Republican votes. That's all it is. He's actually a great guy. We're so similar as people, but for example, he can only date other Mormon women. If he didn't stay in his cultural background, he'd be cut off from his family. Yes, true. That is true. I've known Jehovah's Witnesses growing up, so I get that. Do you want to get in some tastiness? You want to see me go off on a fucking liberty? I'm trying to find when I came in. Alright, this is about it.
And that is specific to the United States, not everywhere else. So that's not the entire story. Now, I mean, that's just part of the story.
No, what you said is true and also bad.
Bad how? Bad.
The government is not allowing. So again, there's government there's rent seeking of corporations through the fact that government has so much power, where they are allowed to. There's not just on patents, but there's also de facto protections that regulations put against competition. If it's harder for me to bring a new drug to market, if it costs on average, which it does $1 billion to bring.
Are you guys able to hear better?
And the FDA is increasing its stringency, increasing its regulations, then the current companies get to benefit from a de facto monopoly that comes through barriers to entry from regulation. So yeah. That I agree is bad, and yeah. Again, a government problem.
So okay, so here's the point that I was trying to make earlier, right? When you were talking about like the medical insurance and how much you pay. So the average American, okay, the alone
10,000.
Spend more in yeah, I guess that's
the total spending
in other Western developed nations.
Well, in pharmaceuticals, that's about 10%.
Yeah, peefsmash is the guy.
It's about 8%.
He is
in total.
Very stupid.
I'm not talking about healthcare spending. The average person, do they spend more in pharmaceuticals than other Western developed nations?
Probably, I would guess so. Yeah.
A lot more, or a little more.
In pharmaceuticals, in particular.
Yes.
And again, am I only allowing this to not be what people's tax burden is based on pharmaceuticals that will be provided through a government service?
Well, let's start with the basics. So, yes.
My assumption would be that we are
from the top rope.
That our pharmaceutical
I was
spending
pissed.
is about in line with our total spending, which will be about 8% of what, or 8 to 10% of our total spending. So you can probably just run a simple.
Hey, we're just going over this whole thing.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I think I know what you're saying here. You're saying that the cost to the individual who has health insurance is in line with other developed Western nations, right?
That is true. We might be slightly more
peefsmash is this guy right here.
6.5 to 10 range.
He didn't have a cam.
Another interesting fact is you don't get any better
Osiris is a buddy
as a country by increasing your health spending beyond about $4,000 a year per person.
All right, man.
Okay, I see your argument there. Yeah, I see your argument. Okay.
Increased health spending in first world countries also just.
I was getting ready to jump in it because I was mad.
Once you get to this point, your diminishing returns are so small, and you're bumping up against harmful, unexpected consequences like getting sick in the hospital because there's sick people there, and you get a situation where you start running into the ceiling of what you can do through healthcare, when other interventions help people's lives much better in first world countries.
So are you accounting for the amount of uninsured in the United States versus the amount of uninsured in, you say, Europe?
Am I accounting for it in what way? In healthcare outcomes, total healthcare outcomes?
Yeah, I guess that sounds reasonable. Yeah.
Well, first, it's worth pointing out there are I believe it's where 92% of Americans are currently covered in health insurance. So we do not any longer, Obamacare helped a lot, but we do not any longer have a massive problem of people not being able to get insured. And of those people, of those 8% who aren't uninsured, the vast majority of them simply don't sign up for whatever reason for
I didn't get a
healthcare
chance to
actually
jump
offered
all
either
over
by the
this. I wanted
employer
to.
or by the government.
I wanted
themselves.
to.
So
But I was like, I haven't even introduced myself.
Wait, so, hold on. Let me get this
Thank
correct.
God.
Oh, I'm
you-
losing my goddamn mind listening to this dumbass.
you're losing your goddamn mind about this. I'm giving you
You
two
are
facts.
so full of shit. Okay, all right. You ready to go,
Hey,
motherfucker?
Lisa.
You ready to go?
I went
All
over
right,
the
first of
first
all,
one.
hold up.
Already debated this with
You
Marc
have
Guitar.
talked enough. You've talked
Already
enough.
debated this with Marc
You
Guitar.
have
It's all
talked
been settled. He
You
all
have
agreed that
talked-
my stats were true on this.
No. You have talked enough. Because here's the thing. I am well versed in healthcare. You have said some straight up bullshit. You may have found one study brought to you by the fucking Heritage Foundation that proved your shit and then ignored all the other facts that have to do with it. But here's the truth of the matter. First of all, you bring up, hey, we can buy insulin at Walmart. Which type? Are we talking
I already-
long acting,
I
fast
literally
acting?
explained
Are we talking about long acting, fast acting? Are we talking about
You're making a distinction that I literally made when I made the point. I made the point that it was lower quality. Yes, I made the point.
No, not low quality. Insufficient for the person's specific diabetes. Insufficient to take care of the human being because you need to have this stuff specifically prescribed if you have a certain type of diabetes. If you have a certain level of diabetes, you can't just pick it up at fucking Walmart and just say, "Oh, I'm fucking good." That's not how medical.
For many people, you
That's
can.
not how it fucking works, huh?
For many people, you can. You're correct.
Oh, many people. Cool. But what about everybody else?
This is again a much.
If
I was too angry to make the point, but I'm going to go ahead and address it here. You cannot just go and pick up insulin at Walmart if you don't know what type of insulin you need. You can die that way. You can die. Like, isn't worth much if you still have to front most of the bills. Exactly. Imagine that. But you're from one of those socialist countries that don't know what the fuck they're talking about because you're against markets. You need to be for markets. Yeah. This guy is so full of shit. Like, seriously. A quick lesson on diabetes and insulin. If you need to have some form of fast-acting insulin because you're on some sort of sliding scale by your doctor and you need to monitor it out properly for when you have constant spikes because you constantly have high blood sugar, you need that kind of insulin. You can't just buy whatever. If you need a slower acting insulin to go throughout the day to monitor your blood sugar and keep it low when you have like consistently like high but not too crazy high spikes throughout the day, you need that. If you just say, oh, I'm going to buy this one because it's cheaper and it's fast acting and just start taking it, I got news for you. You're going to bottom out and die. But the thing that this guy did not want to address was the fact that he does not care about that. It's like the ADHD here are all kinds of different medications with different release schedules. But I was mad. I was mad because I'm like, you are not going to come in here and sell me on some bullshit when you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
If this was this easily fixed, they would have fucking done it, buddy. Because they're poor. They're trying to save money. They have no other choice.
No, I've just worked in
It's
healthcare.
bullshit.
Again, I'm merely explaining that the problem is smaller than people's.
But you're wrong.
Not to say that it's zero, and also.
But you're wrong.
What we should allow is those poor people, to be able to buy insulin from other countries. We should allow them to be able to be offered different insulins that are cheaper. These are things that I would hope you would agree with, but again, this is free market reform, so maybe you won't.
No, absolutely not. Because let me explain to you why. That doesn't change the cost.
You want to make it illegal for people.
Hold on, buddy.
You lecture me
I'm telling you. You need to stop talking. All right. You have talked a lot. I've heard your points. I'm done with them. I'm laying them to rest, buddy. Okay.
Keep trying.
All right. So here's the issue: whether we get it from an outside country or not, that does not change the amount that it costs to produce insulin in this country. There's reason that we mark up insolent like that is because these companies choose to maximize profit, not because we're not getting it from outside. And guess what? Once those companies start doing it from outside the country, if it's even up to quality to actually save anybody's life, you want to know what they're going to do? They're going to mark that shit up too because they have power over the market. They can
Wrong.
just do it.
That
and
is,
they will.
When supply increases, price decreases. Econ 101.
No. Okay.
But we don't live in we don't live in an Econ 101 world, buddy.
In this
We don't
case,
live
we
in
do.
Econ
In this
101.
case, we
You
do.
They
have
can
to- you
they
have to
can
get
choose to
past
just
Econ 101.
maximize profit as much as they can, which is what they've
Okay.
done.
And they are
Mark.
limited in how much they can maximize profit. That's called finding an
No, they're
equilibrium.
No, they're not.
That's called finding an equilibrium.
Oh,
Otherwise, they could charge 10 times more.
what law stops them from maximizing profit beyond any reasonable
Competition. Again,
Have you heard of Martin Shkreli, or is he just like not exist in your universe?
competition? Oh God, yes, we found Dave fucking Rubin
Or
here.
did you like try as hard as you could to forget that Martin Shkreli even exists?
Yeah, literally, his whole thing was like competition.
Competition would start kicking in.
Yeah, over here talking about like, they'll compete against each other. Not if they all do it. Then the competition is who can earn enough money. And the best way to earn the most profit off of these things is to continually raise the prices. If your competition raises the prices and you see that they're still making money off of it, which they will, because you need these drugs to survive, guess what you're going to do? You're going to go, hey, that's working out really good for them. I'm going to raise the price too. So, like, he's over here talking about this like this is some morality game when it's not. It's a means to continually make more and more profit and grow the size of your company. Like, he's so lost in the weeds. He thinks that everything works in a very careful set of rules in these corporations, but they don't. They don't. And it's deregulation that has led us here. It's not because, government, whatever that means. It's literally because of them choosing to do so, because they're trying to maximize as much profit as they can. That's why Martin Shkreli is a name. Why he got away with that. He went to prison not for that. He went to prison for insider trading. Guys seem to be working backward from a conclusion related to justifying unfettered profit seeking. Yes. It reminds me of how my house just got appraised for $10,000 less than I paid for it a year ago. I'm like, how can you tell me it's just not worth what I paid for it when that's what I paid for it brand new from the corporation that manufactured it? I felt so gaslit. Yeah, true. Like, I can't buy a house in fairy tale land. That's how much it costs. Yeah. Like, things like housing and cars depreciate value really fast, especially if they're normal. Like, that's the key phrase here. Normal. For example, houses that normal people would live in. A mansion is not going to depreciate in value because it's already high quality and it's built in a way to continually have a reason to gain profit. But it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I wish I knew that. I wish I knew to bring that up in elastic demand. We later brought that up. We brought up the idea of oligarchies or oligopolies. I feel so fortunate to even buy a house, but God, every inch of the current capitalist system makes my skin crawl. Yeah. Hi, Irish Bro. Welcome.
Existed in the first place, like.
Or that there's several companies that
How do you think that's
manage to mark up insulin already. You're ignoring that already happened. Guess what happens with competition? They decide to start competing for who can make the most money off of something that's necessary for somebody to live. That's what's going on.
Not only
People are
that,
in
but
a
you end
position
up
where
with, not only that, but you end
going
up
on.
with like oligopolies where they all kind of agree to keep the prices high
Bingo.
because it's good for them.
Yeah, I don't think
Look.
anyone thinks that this is being price fit.
Hey,
And if they do, then they're just wrong.
no, it's
But
being
it's not.
Sorry, you don't
Hey,
think
hold
that
on.
drugs are being price fixed? I'll
Hold
call you
on,
back to
let me
Rocket
bring
Lansky.
something
Did
up.
you forget about Martin Shkreli?
The sense
Yeah,
in which
yeah,
they,
yeah.
the sense
He
in which
went to
they
fucking
fix-
prison for price fixing fucking HIV medication.
Hold on.
didn't go to
Pete,
prison for price fixing.
hold on. Pete. Let me talk. All right. So
He was right on that. I already addressed that.
but
And then the
like,
mob came around, and now you have to join the mob. It's okay.
No. Someone
no,
that
you-
actually knows what they're talking about in
First of all-
healthcare came in.
Yeah, somebody who
Wait,
doesn't
wait,
want
what'd
to
you-
perpetuate
wait, Pete,
dumb
what'd you
Literally
nonsense,
came in
or-
really strongly, agreed with my point, and then say you don't understand economics. That's
All right. Time out. Osiris.
He kept saying it over and over that I agreed with him. I didn't agree with one goddamn thing he said. Because he was factually incorrect. Because he doesn't know, we use the example of insulin because it's something that should cost very little because it costs very little to make. And it's necessary for people to live. Like people with diabetes go through a lot of insulin. Like this was a whole thing. It's just, oh, I forgot to change the name of my stream. You guys will like this title. But yeah, like he kept saying, "Well, you agree with me. Well, you agree with me." I'm like, "Dude, I don't." Because you're factually incorrect on the substance of it. You're trying to get me to this conclusion where I agree with you, but you're never going to do that because you're ignoring the fundamental problem here. That these companies can choose to do these things and there's no one to stop them. I wasn't reading chat. I was too hot to read, honestly. I was too fucking hot. I was an angry boy. Like, it was literally, I tucked my wife in for the night, because she's still sick. And then, I'm sorry, babe. I need to go chew someone's ass out because I'm pissed off. Like, I told her the first little bit about the insulin, and she just looks at me and she goes, "You go do what you got to do." Because, she knows more about it than I do. Like, when I told her this morning all the shit this dude said, she's like, What is he talking about? So there you go. Yeah, I may just be maybe just a former nurse assistant who also worked in medical billing and reception, blah, 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 blah. But my wife's an actual nurse, has actually had to dole out insulin. I mean, I have to an extent, too, because there are some places where you can work as a CNA and also administer pills. But, that's the whole thing. Jesus Christ. This guy is so dumb.
It's been talked over a good bit. Let him make his point real quick.
Okay.
Because it's get to the point where I don't even know who's talking about what. So
I'm gonna go and grab some water.
go ahead, Osiris.
Wait. All right. No. So I was with you. Pete.
I need it. I'm hot from all these burns.
For a whole, I was with you for the long mile, and then you jumped off the deep end. I can't go with you there. So there's literally a drug right now called PrEP, right? 100% stops HIV. There's a sole company who owns the patent to it, and the competitor's patent to it, both of them. The government.
Oh my god, what the hell? What's going on?
What? Oh my gosh!
We got ourselves a mid-roll, guys. We got ourselves a mid-roll. I think you need to turn your when you host. I think you need to turn your desktop audio up because I have it cranked. And everyone else is still really quiet. That's the only criticism I would say, Freems. Yeah, I think your volume was actually perfect and everyone else's was lower.
Of all governments, is suing this company because of their price fixing and their dirty practices. So I don't know.
It's fine.
I'm not
It's
sure
fine.
Why you think that it's the pharmaceutical industry is fair in the United States?
It didn't say
Why
it was
it-
fair.
So what?
Just that you don't care whether it's fair.
They operate in a I do. They operate in a kind of cooperative dance with the government to benefit themselves. That's what happens when you have government being so powerful is you get this kind of rent seeking. So in that case, I would say the problem is the government is, by the way, the government is the one enforcing this monopoly. It's not the company enforcing the monopoly. The company is just playing by the incentives the government gives it, right? They're buying up patents.
Of course.
Maybe we should probably have it be the case that we have a system that's much different but still encourages innovation. Maybe a prize-based system where instead of getting patents, they just get large cash payouts. This kind of thing would allow innovation to still continue and allow the public good to be better served. But again, you always have to keep in who's the police stopping anyone else from going out and making
Just gish gab. I'm trying to get to the one point that I want to.
Okay. So we're going to get into patents now?
I mean, I'm coming on here beating down every point every one of you are raising.
You're not. You're literally not. You're throwing out bullshit.
Proved you guys wrong. Proved you wrong on the American healthcare spending. Proved you wrong on the American education spending.
Are you actually going to answer my question though?
What is it?
Like I just.
What's your question? Sorry. What is it?
Okay. So, you just pointed out that you think that someone can go in and just start making insulin, and the reason they're not is because the government. Are we talking about patents now?
The FDA has
watch this bullshit he
many
pulls.
types of insulins that exist in many other countries to be offered here. That's
not what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's not what I asked about.
You literally asked what my position was, and I'm giving you what my position is. You asked, do you think blah blah blah, and I'm telling you what I do think.
I asked you about patents.
This is a simple question. Are we talking about patents? Listen to him talk about bring up the VOD. We just did it.
You said, are you telling me that you think the
We're in the VOD now. What did I say, guys? What did I ask him?
What I said at all.
It's literally
I said, are we talking about patents now?
Somebody go clip it.
Literally I've said it multiple times. Are we talking about patents now?
You said that after I answered your question.
No. I said, are we asking about patents now?
You said that after I answered your question.
You guys heard me, right? You guys heard me. I said, are you trying to talk about patents now? I just wanted to be clear on what we were talking about before I said anything else.
Corporations.
Yep. Okay, so why would it be in the government's best interest to make patents longer than they are necessarily needed?
Well, I can tell you the theory, and then I can tell you whether I think it's right. But the theory is giving companies longer patents increases the incentive to innovate on whatever thing it is that there's a patent for.
Do you agree with that?
It definitely does increase incentive to innovate. Absolutely. Companies that
innovate
don't
in what?
In new drugs that the consumer wants. But
new drugs to do what?
Innovate.
To make people healthier, keep people alive, improve their quality of life.
Not quite.
These are among the things.
I wanted to talk about.
You're not.
People are willing to pay to keep themselves alive, and so companies are willing to
keep themselves alive. Yes, long-term palliative care. The innovation in corporate medicine is made to keep people alive longer, but is not made to cure diseases. Well, because curing diseases would be eating into their profit motives. Almost like profit motive is a very, very bad idea to have in something like healthcare.
I didn't make this point well enough because I like the way I should have threaded the needle is to point out that if you have a consistent customer base, keeping a profit motive in it is to actually make it so that your customers never go away. So if someone's cured of a disease, your customer is gone. That's why a profit motive doesn't work in healthcare. It just doesn't. Orphan drugs also don't fit even the model he's advocating. Orphan drugs for rare diseases will never be profitable. Yes, also true. I wish I would have brought that up. Like, for example, Osiris brought that up by talking about PrEP and how it stops the spread of HIV throughout the body. And how it's one company that owns that. Yeah, he brought that up. Like, that's a great fucking point. It's an entirely great fucking point. So, like, if you're talking about supply and demand, like, just because people less people have this disease, does that mean that they need to pay, like, umpteen times more because there's only one company that provides it? And they decided to uptick the price because it's a small demand? Like, That's literally just saying, because you live in a market, you deserve to die. That's literally what this is. This is the British public reacting to our healthcare prices in real time and saying, if you're poor, you're just dead. This is that girl. And him just going, yeah, that's fine. No, something else will help. Innovation will help. Innovation, Well, what if part of the innovation is ways to resell a product that isn't any different than the previous product? I wanted to get into that. There are several times where there's a number of drugs that are released with only a minor, very minor, inactive ingredient added. That makes it so you can still use it, but because it has that inactive ingredient, it's a new drug. Does it matter that it has the same effect? It has the same active ingredients? No. And you can extend that patent out even longer. I didn't even get into marketing and how most of that budget goes to marketing. Because marketing is a huge problem in the United States of America. And yes, Friezo, since you're not in the United States, I'm going to go ahead and tell you. We have marketing for pharmaceutical drugs. Lots of them. Like, they air on the Super Bowl. So many commercials for drugs. There are ads in buses, on street corners, on bus stops, out billboards, out on the highway. That they're everywhere for pharmaceutical drugs. Yeah, I'm not talking about over the counter drugs. I'm talking all of them. Like ads of what kind of drugs the Super Bowl. Just anything. Whatever company paid to have their ad out of the Super Bowl, they went ahead and did it. Bingo. Thanks, Frames. Yeah. And Oxycontin is fucking terrible for you. It's to the point where, like, it became a narcotic and it's barely even used anymore. Partially because it was replaced by, like, Narcos and Norcos, excuse me, and Vicodin. But Vicodin is pretty similar to Oxycontin, like chemically. So there you go. Oxycontin was found to be highly addictive and to have a lot of long-term problems, so they repackaged it as Vicodin with a few minor chemical differences. They're both opiates. So for this guy to talk about competition will fix it, and just all this nonsense. I really wish that I was able to make these points, but this is always looking back, and I was really angry, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. We didn't get into marketing. Vicodin basically has less opiate and more Tylenol. Yes. Well, Norco is I believe is more Tylenol based. I might be wrong on that. I'm trying to remember. How about this, Jim? Ask your doctor. Yes. Ask your doctor about. It's insane. It's insane the way we do things in this country. And this guy is over here like, no, what we need to do is hand it more over to the corporations and they'll be able to do it right. Because we'll remove the government entirely, let them do whatever the fuck they want, and we'll have innovation. But I literally just explained how the innovation is to create continuous customers. Because that's how they look at you. You're not a patient. You're a customer. How's that healthcare? How's that beneficial? How's that sufficient? Which, by the way, he later completely ignores that I said insufficient and turns it into inefficient. And I'm like, no. I said insufficient, as in it doesn't provide the proper amount of care for what people need. Norco is a nerve pill with Tylenol? I don't think that's quite right. Norco is Norco's a painkiller. I know gabapentin is for nerve pain. God, there's a few more that are big names prescribed for specifically neuralgia. Norco's a muscle relaxer, I believe. I'd need to get my wife up here in order to answer this for me. It's been too long since I've done pharmacology. That's why I need to get back in school. But again, it's expensive. You can't just go on. Fucking expensive. Oh, am I right on that? Yes, nailed it. I want to make sure that I still have the knowledge that I used to have, because it's going to make things easier when I do finally get back into nursing school. I'm just saying that if there is only one drug, there is no competition. They don't need the attractive women. Yeah, but they do anyways. But yeah. Gabapentin is what I took. Its other name is Neurontin. That's the one I was trying to think of, because that's the brand name of it. But gabapentin is the chemical name. I'm saying they invent the narrative of why you need the drug. Yeah, that's why I was confused. Yeah, that's fine, man. Don't worry about it. Like, shit, the fact that you knew the difference between any of those drugs is makes you informed. And like, just because we were off on the fact, like, I wasn't even completely sure on it. I mean, that's still knowledge. I have to buy my lisinopril from foreign countries at outrageous prices because I don't work enough hours to get health insurance. But I worked it out, and it's still cheaper to get the script offline. Online? Really? Oh. LASIK's is another thing that's really important. I heard things got a little wild last night after I left. I came back at 3 a.m. my time and had to light up a dude about not knowing jack shit about pharmaceuticals and the medical industry. I was mad. Oh, your boy was mad. Rockatansky was there. She knows. Oh, man. I know you were having fun. I'm sorry if I talked over everybody too, but that shit really pisses me off. Because, like, it was every single bad faith, yes, it was peefsmash. It was every single bad faith argument against healthcare. And I hate it. I hate it so much. It's like, you don't know what you're... Oh! I saw them venting in Bastia. Good. Stay mad. I want him to stay mad. I want him to have to go and do research and find out that all the times that we called out his biased research for normally coming from the Heritage Foundation, and what was it, the Cato Institute. Like, I want him to have to prove that he's right by having to search the other information that I know he has not read. Oh, I've read it all. And I'm going to clip out my favorite part. My favorite part was the ending. Oh, God, that was beautiful. It was the fucking funniest thing. The way this guy moves his goalposts. Oh, my God. Yeah. Let us proceed.
Yeah, from a naive point of view, if you don't consider the effect that not having a profit motive would have.
Oh,
it's
really?
extremely
Really?
naive to think that somebody is going to come up with a solution to cancer do the billions and billions and hundreds of billions of dollars of investment.
Okay, another thing I was going to say right here, like my go-to when someone does this, when I'm trying to make him a point, but he kept talking over me and would fucking gish gallop like a motherfucker. Cuba has a drug that cures a certain form of cancer. I think it's leukemia. Some forms of leukemia. We are blocking the sale of it in the United States. Why? Because, very simply, I mean, besides the fact that we're like, oh, Cuba bad, we can't fucking, yeah, cures aren't profitable. That's exactly it. That is exactly the problem. We have a continuing embargo on this country because we don't like their economic system. And they went, and they have better health outcomes than we do in this country. And they're poor as fuck. Partially because of us. Largely because of us. And we're just like, you created a cure? No. Because you know what is a multiple billion-dollar industry? Chemotherapy, radiation therapy, continuous monitoring and biopsies of cancer. People who previously had cancer and those who currently do. When you're in remission, you're just in remission. You can still get it again. And you have to be continually monitored for it. And that's big money. That is big money. I've been feeling in the mood to get into healthcare again on Killer Stream if you want to go at it with me. The thing with talking about it on Killer Steven's stream is I can barely get into it before people just start saying really stupid shit, and I end up screaming at people. Like that, it's triggering for me to hear like that absolute dumb shit from people who have never worked in healthcare. And with Coop, well, we talked about it last night. He's trying to justify his work, and that's going to be difficult to get him to move on. But like, he hasn't been able to really counter any of my points. So something made chemotherapy obsolete, massive job loss and obsolete equipment and drugs and practices. The infrastructure is massively distributed and entrenched throughout the system and training and everything. This is getting into the argument about how it's going to cost people their jobs. I mean, yes, there was an idiot parade. I ended up yelling at somebody. It is good sometimes. I might skip out tonight just because of how much I was yelling. We'll see. My throat hurts. Excuse me. Thing is, I don't care about that argument. You don't care about that argument? I think it's a good argument, though. I hate that argument for not taking down the horrible system just because it's entrenched. My argument for that? I'm curious about that vending machine. By the way, yeah, hi Aiden, hi $27. Like, Jesus. I'm on my horse, guys. I'm on my horse. I'm riding it through town. This wasn't a troll. This was, have you ever heard of peefsmash? Because I smashed him.
And research that is not guaranteed to pay off unless they're going to get a big reward at the end. It is naive to think that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
sure
Cuba.
The USSR got a huge reward at the end of the space race.
I didn't even get to do it.
Yeah, or
Say that again?
Cuba, or things like
hold on.
the
Can I hear the space race point? Can I hear the space race
You
point?
actually didn't hear that. I said I'm sure the USSR was prepared for a huge boost to whatever, like a huge like return on investment to
From the space race? Yeah, do you know why they did it?
The space race.
Do you know why they participated in the space race? My God, you're making my point for me. It's kind of embarrassing that you just said that out loud.
How many times does he say this?
They absolutely were interested in a huge reputational reward and the reward of being the most dominant and all of the additional electoral success that they might have if they ever decided to hold an election, the lower resistance they might get from countries they were trying to take over. Yeah, they wanted a reward. That is why they didn't invest for the good of people.
Other than Ben Shapiro, because I would really like to talk to someone that talks to people like they're human beings, just for a second. It'd be really nice. I'm just going to throw that out there. Because you have interrupted every single person on here multiple fucking times when they're trying to make a point. Just so you can monologue for a fucking hour. Dude.
I listened to an hour of monologue before I came on, which was basically Vivian monologuing and everyone else. Okay,
I wasn't here for that. I was here for hearing you talk about 50,000 times more than every single person here, and talking to everyone. And most of it was all lies.
you gotta make like 10 fucking points, and like by the time we fact checked you on like
Yeah, you gish gallop like a motherfucker.
you're on
You so
like
far you haven't
5 points ahead.
you haven't if you
Actually,
if
I
the
have.
fact check-
If you were actually listening and not trying to, talk over me and dunk on me, and failing to do so, by the way, because like I said, I know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. You still have not answered that question about what I said about are they fast-acting insolence? Are they slow-acting insolence?
I
What
did
are
answer
they?
the question.
No, you didn't. You said
There are
I
some
don't know.
people who use fast-acting insulins even though it's not medically necessary. It just improves their quality of life. That is the case for many people. Not everybody, but many people.
No,
They would
no,
recommend
that's
the fast-acting
Osiris.
because-
Cole doesn't do Twitch anymore. He had his one experience and he's like, nah, fuck that. I'm staying on YouTube. Which is funny because the studio he operates out of is out of Echoplex's studio. But yeah. But no, that's Osiris. Oh, I understand. This shit, I was getting real salty at this point. Because, like, the dude kept on thinking that, like, he was scoring points and getting me to agree with him and make his points for him. But I was literally dismantling his points and also exposing him as not knowing what he was talking about at all. Which is really unfortunate for him, but very fortunate for me.
It would help them.
You have no idea what you're talking about. Some people's different types of diabetes require a
Yeah,
fast.
I accepted that point. I already
Maybe they're like
But that's
type
the
1 and
reason
type
they
2
use it.
diabetes, right?
Fast-acting insulins are not something that they use because they feel like it's better. They use if someone who requires a slow-acting insulin uses a fast-acting insulin. Guess what? Their blood sugar is going to drop in 10 fucking seconds when they take it. They're going to bottom the fuck out and die.
Again, I am not disagreeing with that point. If that clarifies it.
Yeah, you can't disagree with it because it's fucking science. It's how it works.
Very often the case that happens. Yes.
So then going to Walmart doesn't fix the problem, does it?
Going to Walmart fixes the problem for some number of people.
Speaking of Echoplex, producer Dave and I are talking about doing a thing around the Satanic Panic. You might have to explain that to me. Is that the surprise? Is that the surprise? Because I'm still gonna bug you about that. Your favorite part is next. I think the problem where you can hear him making stuff up on the fly is coming up. Yeah, he got really flustered because, like, I know, like, my struggles in speaking were because I was trying to remember the proper phrasing and also trying to explain it to somebody who clearly didn't know anything about healthcare. And that's difficult to do. Like when you're trying to talk to somebody who doesn't have like the education on it. Like, this is gonna sound shitty, but I'm trying to make it not sound shitty. Like, it's a whole lot easier to talk to somebody if you know the material. If you know the material, if you know the material going in, you can use like the terminology to say it because you don't have to explain it. But like to use like layman's terms, to talk to somebody who doesn't understand what it is you're saying, like it just ends up being like a jerking off contest if you're not able to properly say it to someone who's going to understand you. And it was a combination of that, trying to remember it from studying it years ago. You know, it was a lot of things. So whenever you hear me like slip up on words or stutter or anything, it's because I'm trying to find out the right way to say it to them, so that I just don't sound like I'm talking over their head. You know what I mean? Yes, Streamception.
Okay, wait.
Very small number.
I thought you were saying before that a very small number of people are having the problem that. Wait, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Example
This is what set me off. This is what set me off,
No,
Rocket.
you were saying the
I mean,
opposite
you
of what
yeah,
you
you
said like 10
literally
minutes
said
ago, dude.
earlier that there's only a very small amount of people
This
who
is a
can't just
fucking
go to
sad
Walmart,
joke.
and now you're
This is
saying
such a sad fucking joke.
there's only a small number.
This is what
of people who
triggered
can
me.
go
This
to
is why I
Walmart.
had to come in. I should
can't
be in
blame
bed
you.
right now. But that shit
came in
pissed
fucking
me off
hot,
because
too.
you're wrong. Because you're wrong.
I mean, not
110%.
just
And you're
wrong,
contradicting
like-
yourself.
You're not just wrong. You're like changing what the fuck you were saying like 5 minutes ago, and then presenting it like that was what you were saying all along. Like,
I don't think you understand my view at any given point in time.
Please enlighten us on how fucking stupid we are.
You the fuck out, and now you're like dumbfounded.
We're too fucking stupid to understand the difference between like
fucking liar, dude.
There's only
Dude, I have almost a decade in healthcare. My wife is a nurse.
Amount of people that can't use this. Like
you rocked in the wrong debate.
There are some number of people who currently prefer that this is, and if you want to
small number or big number.
I can't tell you exactly.
They go all over the place, Igloo.
It's almost like that's insufficient.
I'm pretty sure it's a big number of people at one point.
Again,
it's not a big number.
Let me clarify why I brought the point up in the first place. I gave a list of several.
Move that goalpost.
No, I'm reminding you what the goalpost was in the first place. The first place was I decided to. So I was asked, "What about insulin?" And I gave several reasons that insulin costs are high.
The fact that he says some people choose to just go to Walmart and buy their insulin, like, what?
What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. Holy shit, dude.
Excuse me.
Holy
Sorry.
fucking shit,
control.
dude.
I apologize for that.
Literally lying. Still lying to his audience.
I'm trying to work out a way to where I can play my soundboard through my headset. I haven't taken it too seriously yet, but I will. Like, for when that comes up, because my God.
And I gave several reasons about why insulin spending is high.
Yeah, Windows.
Wrong.
No,
because it doesn't address the fact that it doesn't cost anymore to make insulin, whether it's fast acting or slow acting or any other type.
It doesn't cost more to make it in the US than it does in the UK. Maybe it does to like a small degree.
In the US, we aren't allowed to make many types of insulins that exist in other markets. We aren't allowed to by the FDA.
He keeps saying many types. What are the different types of insulin? I keep asking him, like, what are these types that are not allowed to be sold here? I kept asking him that, and he'd just go, well, I don't know. Well, I'm not going to get into it. No. You don't know. You just flat out don't know. That's it. Like, largely, I'm going to say largely because I do know, I do think that there are some more of the like rarer types of diabetes, different kinds of insulin. I think there might be a third type. I can't remember. So I'm just going to acknowledge that that's a possibility and not write it off. But we'll say commonly, the two types of insulin that are used the most are fast acting and slow acting. It's like Novolog, Humalog, all these types. These people just have hearsay facts that they've never dug into. Then when asked to explain, their brains just rationalize an answer. Yeah, 100%. By the way, I just heard the garbage truck drive past my house, and I just realized I didn't take the trash out. God damn it. Nailed it, Mark. Nailed it. Oh, there's next week. But yeah, like, commonly that's the two types. And the reason they use that is based on their need, not their want. Like, this does not get through to him at all, that some people have specific needs. It's not about, hey, I enjoy this type of insulin, so I'm going to use it. It's no. You have an need. You had a need to take it. That's why I brought up the idea of, if someone who requires a slow-acting insulin to monitor their blood sugar throughout the day takes a fast-acting one instead, they're going to die. Yeah, this is the gourmet insulin. Oh, God, yes. I love it. Like, seriously, it's the most insane thing, and it's completely counterfactual. It's not only counterfactual, it's diluted. He had no idea. That's why I kept getting cocky with him and saying, you walked into the wrong fucking debate, dude. Like, you're like, I know this stuff. Like, I don't know how else to say it. I know this stuff. I've administered it. It's one of the few things that you can administer as a CNA. Very rarely in certain places. You have to take a lot of testing to do it. But yeah, it's it's absolutely it's my God. My God.
This is the government telling people.
She's hot.
God damn it. No, administrate, like administer medicine. Yeah, I'm a minister. I feel like that's the type of argument he would make.
Different types of insulin.
Wait. The FDA has
what I fucking mean.
What
We don't have to
types?
get.
No. We do.
No, we don't.
But you don't want to answer the question.
Hold on,
What do you mean
hold on.
by different
Can I
types
ask you a
of
question?
insulin?
Can I ask a question? How much does insulin cost to make?
Like the production.
Are you asking me?
Like the production cost? I don't know.
Whoever knows how much insulin costs to make.
About $3.
Okay. How much?
Oh
does
yeah,
insulin cost
between
on
two
average?
between 228 and 342.
It also.
And how much does insulin cost to the consumer today, on average?
Depends what kind of insulin. That number varies so wide.
The cheapest insulin. How much is it?
Hey, I'm broke, buddy. When I have money,
Insulin cost of $5,705
I will.
on average in 2016. The average cost was roughly half that at $2,864 per patient in 2012, according to a report due to be released on Tuesday by the nonprofit
You're
Healthcare
telling me
Council.
it like doubled in price to manufacture insulin? That seems unlikely to me.
hey, that's fine. I want to.
Exactly the same.
In the space of 7 years, like it costs twice as much to produce.
So that's really my
wait.
point.
Why does
Your point is
Novolog cost $320 a fucking bottle in the U.S. but $30 in Canada? And the only difference
Isn't that a
it's
crime?
called Nova Rapid.
Isn't it a crime that we aren't allowed to just go buy it?
No, it's a crime that it
that
costs
isn't just
$320.
We
provided.
aren't allowed to import it. You guys are
That's the
are
crime.
not accepting that. Despite the fact there are countries that would like to sell us insulin for cheaper than we allow it.
Again, I keep telling you, man, it's actually
How
cheaper
can you
to
not
make it
support
here
that
and
reform?
provide it for us. But the reason that it's not going that way is people are choosing the price fix.
You can't price.
Like, the one thing that I really wanted to get to, and I kept forgetting by the time I would make my point, is like importing it from other countries and saying like, oh, we're going to get this cheaper insulin, which, cool. I'm sure that will do what? Do what? Exactly. Like, he's not factoring in one major thing in importation into the cost. Shipping. Getting it here. It's like, no, that's cheaper. It's literally not. It's cheaper to make it here. For as cheap as it is to make it here. Because this is not an incredibly complicated drug. Insulin. It's not incredibly complicated. Insulin is a naturally occurring substance in your body, and they have to create an artificial version for people with diabetes in order to monitor their and maintain their blood sugar at proper levels. Like, this isn't. It's free for UK, not for long, but currently is very cheap. I think it depends on your stats. Yeah, it's incredibly expensive here. And it has no reason to be. But he's over here talking about, like, oh, if we just bought it from these different countries, from these different countries, it would be so much cheaper for us to have them make it, ship it all the way across the world, and then provide it to us. I've heard of Americans going to Canada or Mexico. Yes, yeah. It's illegal to do that, but people do it anyways. Like shit, Birdie hopped on a bus with a bunch of senior citizens and went with them to Canada to buy their drugs, and they all talked about the problems with the healthcare system. How the fuck is that a sufficient, like, good thing? How's that a good thing? I mean, yeah. I mean, we have to do what we have to do, and I fully support them doing it. But more than anything, I support the idea of us fixing the problem. Like, it's insane. Yeah. 27D's in here. Last I checked. He's hanging around somewhere.
Fix again. This is what would be so great.
You can't.
Can I ask another question? Hold on. Can I ask another question?
You're not interested in my answers at all, are
What
you?
law are they breaking? What law are they breaking?
You can't price fix, Mark Monkey.
They're not allowed to
You're breaking
import
non-aggression
insulin.
principle.
Can I ask another question? What is the common denominator in this problem?
Oh, Vivian got me
My
there.
argument is the common denominator is we aren't allowing free trade of insulin.
No, it's
So,
corporate.
so okay, so
kidnapping.
one
That's the
person,
problem.
so one person says
What a
government, another
weaselly
person.
little fucking liar, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude.
I want to play that fucking.
When you say liar, okay, wait, no, I want to say, what do you mean when you say liar? When I claim, when I
Well,
make
okay.
factually true claims, you can say that you don't think it has that much of an
They're
influence,
not
whatever,
factually
but
true.
it is factually true that we are not allowed to buy that product that is offered cheaper in Canada, despite
Okay.
the fact
Okay.
that
So
companies
make it for $3
Let me
to
explain
fucking
that
don't
to you
in the
real
US
quick.
then.
Let me
Yeah,
explain that to you
that's
real
like
quick.
just make things at minimum.
Hold
cost
up, hold up, hold up.
production
Stop
is-
talking. I want to hear what Rocket has to say.
Let me explain.
I think
this
I
to
know
you
what
really
it is.
quick.
I had a point that you didn't make the point I wanted to make, Rocket, which is why I made it later. But like, I really wanted to jump all over where these drugs are manufactured. They're literally manufactured in the same place. Just literally one costs more than the other because we choose to provide it in a completely insufficient, stupid way. Babe, listening to this is gonna make you lose your mind. This is the debate with this guy last night. Listen to how little he knows about insulin. He's still talking about, like, you know, different types of insulin. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, there's only 2 types of insulin, right? I didn't want to commit to this because I might be wrong. There's fast acting and slow acting, right? I just want to see if I remember everything. I'm still remembering stuff from my pharmacology classes. So long. Okay, so there is more. That's what I thought. Like, there's different things for, like, type 1 diabetes, right? Yeah, he's an idiot. He is completely stupid. Like, I do know like insulin pumps are one way of, like, distributing it, but that's not, like, a different type of insulin. I can't remember. I have to get into it more. I'll have to do refresher stuff before I start that shit back up. It's been too long, guys. But the base knowledge is correct. Rapid, short, intermediate, and long. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Like, the long and short of it is, like, using just the broad terms of long acting and short acting is, like, somewhat acceptable. But yeah, there is intermediate and rapid. Yeah. I missed last night. What was it, an idiot parade? Hi, Reformed Code. Well, isn't intermediate the same as regular, though? I debated peefsmash, and he had no idea what he was talking about. I didn't even get in this school stuff, but, like, he just would come up with dumber and dumber ways to justify his incredibly stupid position. I was amazed. I've never been in the presence of such a powerful and confident idiot. I just haven't. I wasn't ready. Oh, I thought regular and intermediate were the same though. Okay, well. I did say that there's a good possibility that I'm wrong. His position is that it would be much better if we left, if we continued to leave the healthcare up to the free market, and we could actually do better if we got government completely out of healthcare, basically, in order to allow for them to do things like free trade of insulin, which, when I asked him what these insulins are that he's saying aren't allowed in this country, what are they? He had no idea. And then he thought that people would choose to use a faster acting insulin out of choice because that's just how they decide to do it, or it's probably cheaper. That's not how that's not how this works. It's not how that works. Yeah, I know. And he wouldn't admit that. He would keep saying that, like, I proved his point for him. Hey, Leveler. You missed some nonsense last night. Good to see. Oh, by the way, you also missed a troll earlier saying that you don't know what you're talking about because you're probably from the South. And I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not in the UK. But he was parading Boris Johnson winning. And also, the Boris Johnson is not trying to privatize the NHS at all. Are you? He's like, oh, he's probably from the South. I was like, I think it's from the North. Now, I linked your video from yesterday where you discussed everything in length. Because, like, I listened to that shit as long as I could, like, when I was available. Not just, like, when I was on for that little bit, but, like, it was a good listen. I feel like I learned a lot. I still am utterly confused by the UK system in a lot of ways, but, you know, I feel like I learned a lot, and, you know, good fucking job. You deserved all those viewers, man. You deserved all those viewers. Did good shit.
It costs $30 in Canada, and it costs $320 in America for the exact same product. Do you know why? It's not because the government is saying, oh, you're not allowed to sell it for $30. You have to sell it for more. Okay? It's not because they can't come over to Canada and buy it. It's because
we aren't allowed to come to Canada to buy it.
Because the fucking price in Canada is the result of restrictions on corporations from price gouging fucking medical care. Like,
can I ask you something else real quick, Rocket? Where are your drugs made anywhere?
The United
different
States
than
is in
us?
fact.
Aren't they made
Hold on. Let Mark
aren't
finish
they
this
made
point.
by the United
Try not to
States?
interrupt.
I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest,
I
considering
mean, I have to
these
look
are
shit
U.S.
up. So it
companies.
takes me a second.
Yeah, most of the drugs are still made here, even though they're shipped to Canada and sold for less than they are here. That's really weird.
So the United States, in fact,
The
say
smugness.
it's not allowed to buy insulin from outside.
There are insulins that we are not allowed to buy. Not every
We
insulin.
won't name what,
There are
but you know.
insulins we aren't allowed to buy.
Okay.
This is
Slightly changing
Freems.
from before.
That's
The-
not
the
slightly
United-
changing at all.
The United States is the predominant importer of insulin. It imports the most insulin out of every country.
There are
No one
nonetheless
noticed.
insulins we aren't allowed to.
His first one was last night, him and Grimace. I thought I told you about that,
Very
love.
clearly, there are insulins that our government doesn't allow to be imported and doesn't allow to be produced.
What kind?
That's cute because the insulin I'm talking about is made here and sold there.
I can't tackle every single one of your anecdotes if you're gonna keep googling like particular types of.
Oh, it's okay,
Wait,
dude.
wait, these aren't-
Anecdote. This
these
is a
aren't
fucking
anecdotes.
fact.
Do you
Listen,
not know what an anecdote is?
prices.
Holy shit, dude.
It is an anecdote to point out one particular.
If I told
one
you
particular
I
drug
went
thing
to
I
this
don't know
No,
about.
No,
and
an
it's
anecdote,
like, oh, I
an
had this
anecdote is a
experience.
recounting
That's
of
a fucking
personal
anecdote.
Wait. An anecdote is a recounting of personal experience. It's not like showing you a piece of data or a fact about the world. Okay?
I'm sorry you need this explained to you, but Jesus fucking Christ, here
Well,
we are.
because here's what I can do. I can start making things that are cheaper in America.
I love it, Rocket. I love
an
it.
infinite number of things that are cheaper in America than anywhere else, or that we spend less on than everyone else, and then say, "See, don't I win every single argument?"
I'm sorry. Mark.
For example,
I'm sorry. I did
really
bad
cute.
on this before. I've never heard the fucking libertarian dialogue tree on medicine. So I just wasn't familiar with a lot of the fucking shit he was saying.
No,
but
that's
when
right,
you dig right down to it, it's pretty fucking clear that you're just repeating a whole load of shit that you've like read on some fucking website. Probably
Turning
fucking
Point
like,
USA.
Foundational Turning Point or something.
I've seen all the things that he said on fucking.
And when you actually dig into any
I'd love to see Turning Point USA make that fucking point. I guarantee they never have.
When you actually, it's probably fucking like Cato Institute or something. You're a libertarian, but anyway, like
True.
when you actually dig down and like actually try and get you to answer questions on shit, it turns out you don't even know the fucking definition of the word anecdote. Like,
I love Vivian.
I don't know. It's not even a got 'em, buddy. It's just like. I feel like you're getting a shitload
I've made my point as clear as I can. I can't nag you into believing me. I'm giving you an answer for why, among many possible reasons, that insulin prices are high. That's all I can do. If you don't like the points, then I can't force you to believe them.
You still haven't been able to answer what kind of insulins are they not allowed to sell here that are apparently cheaper elsewhere. And
Googling the exact fucking name. No, I don't know the exact fucking name.
Hold on, can I ask a question?
Well,
Pete, so
this is yeah. Go ahead.
Do you
Hey, Frozen. Good to see you.
Or do you deny that it's a possibility that
Which you're probably the only one of my British viewers that I haven't given condolences for about the election yesterday. It's that was awful. But at least we might get a Scottish referendum, right? Maybe. Take the small wins where you can.
In concert with the government, that these pharmaceutical companies could be upping the price of these drugs.
They absolutely do. Yeah, they absolutely do.
Yeah. Peef's argument is that we should have the global market to add competition.
Okay, so I don't think I did. I don't think I disagree with him. I just don't know if I agree with the way he's arguing it at all. But
I mean, it's hard to know if you disagree with him when he's like not really saying anything most of the time, or just making
hold on. Let me be clear what I'm saying.
The free market would fix everything.
I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with his prescriptions of how to fix these things.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is I'm not disagreeing with his
You're right, Mooney.
Foundational claim.
We couldn't even get there.
Other shit. I don't know what the answer is to fixing this shit. Mm-hmm. So you guys go ahead with that one.
it's pretty clear. Like the rest of the industrialized world has already embraced it. We just need to stop being big, dumb, stupid morons and embrace it ourselves.
Wait, can I ask Mark? Hey, Mark, can I ask you a question? Mark, because you're in the medical field, right? Or
yep,
that's your profession.
Yep.
So
formerly, but yes, and future into yes.
Right. So is it true?
I just don't want anybody to call me a liar.
Right. Well, that's why I'm asking.
That was my Mike from PA moment, where people were saying he was claiming to be a lawyer. Like, there's more facts to that story that show that that's not entirely the facts on the ground. Like, no, I'm not currently working in medical care. I actually haven't for a while. Like 2015 was the last time I worked in healthcare. 2015. Yeah, 2015. Just after my knee surgery, that was the last, and that was in emergency medical electronic medical records, because I was recovering from a knee surgery. Hey, Geek with Glasses, good to see you. Thanks for the follow. So after that, because of my knee injury, I wasn't able to, after my knee surgery, I wasn't able to lift people, so I could no longer be a CNA. So I let my my certification lapse in 2016. So just so there's full transparency, I never once claimed that I am currently in the medical field. I'm trying to be. I want to be. I'm trying everything to get jobs that I can get back into based on my experience and not based on my certification that I no longer have. But I still have the knowledge and I still plan to become a nurse. So that's the do with that what you will. If you want to write me off as not knowing anything, that's fine. I would understand, but I can totally say full transparency that I do know what I'm talking about when it comes to this subject. I've studied it heavily. I may be wrong on like there being 2 types of insulin. There are more than that, but largely it boils down to varying degrees of speed for administration. And when we get into that, I'm right on the fact that it's based on the need for the different patient, based on the way their blood sugar goes. Like some people have consistently high blood sugar. Some people have consistently low blood sugar, and they need to have glucagon. They have hypoglycemia. There's some people who it's a little high throughout the day and can spike at any point. So you need like something long acting or something, that can extend throughout the day to monitor it, to like keep it down. Like there's a lot of things here that I'm 100% correct on. I only eat sugar. Be careful with that. But yeah, he's off in no man's land on this shit. You know the most about insulin and most drugs? Yeah, I mean insulin is like I was talking to my wife earlier about this, and I was like, insulin is a very easy thing to learn about. You have to purposely not, choose to not know what the fuck you're talking about to not understand how insulin works. It's a naturally occurring substance in your body for a disease that is one of the most common in the United States. This is not rocket science. This is like introduction to pharmacology stuff. This is like high school biology stuff to learn what insulin is. No, most things as in everything. You do know everything. I will fully guarantee that. That's why you're the best moderator, bud.
So is it true that the United States of America subsidizes some parts of the other world in their pharmaceutical costs by upping the price here? This is the line that's being given.
That would be really difficult to prove, honestly, because if it's the United States subsidizing it across the world, why would it have an effect on the drugs here? Especially, just like Vivian said, we're the largest importer of things like insulin. That's a very strange.
I've actually,
I meant for
I've
debates.
Heard that argument before that the U.S. takes on the
talking about
brunt of the pharmaceutical costs to adjust for price around the world.
Frozen, the competition is between you and Igloo for the best moderator of my channel. Like, you do clips really well, and both of you are really on it when trolls come in. So, but it's not a competition worth having. I love all of you equally, okay? I love all of you. And that I secretly despise you, but in person I will say nice things. I am entirely kidding. You still have... Well, I mean, I wanted to be ready in case I got somebody in there. Because, like, I honestly need more mods. Why do you get a weasel? What? Seems like everyone is starting a round table these days. I'll have to start my own. Yeah. Peef was willfully ignorant of the fact that people who need insulin are a captive market. Yes. That's what I kept bringing up. They don't have like a choice. They're not just like, I don't, I just won't take my insulin today. But there are people in the United States who do that because of the cost. And that's a bad thing. He's not able to recognize that that's a very bad thing. But he thinks the market is going to fix it when the market created the problem in the first place. The market wants a customer. It wants a continuous customer. A captive customer is the best customer in the world. Rocketansky. I think she's still hanging around here. But yeah, she's cool. Rocket and Vivian are awesome people. I've met so many awesome people on Twitch. Like, I fucking love it. I just gotta say that. Just gushing for a second. But yeah, so many awesome people. This wasn't meant to be a regular roundtable, but I've had several people messaging me wanting to keep doing it. Yeah. Oh, thank you for shouting out, Vivian. And Rocketansky. Oh, you guys are awesome. Who shouted out Touring News? That was weird. I mean, I'm not against it. Like, always shout out Touring News, because Touring News is fucking great too. Muba with the snarkiness. I love it. I love it. Yes, go follow Frames, guys. Frames is fucking awesome. He needs to calm down though. He's too hype. Too much hype. He's gotta calm down. Like, we're working on it, okay? We're working on it.
We do subsidize the rest of the world with our innovation.
Well, you can't really use that argument for insulin because it's doubled since 2016 and it hasn't made any improvements since 96.
Yeah,
Well,
but
there's kind of not really much you can do with insulin.
I wouldn't be surprised if we did.
Insulin is a very, very, like...
Oh my god, what the
God
hell?
damn
What's
it.
going on?
Wait, oh my...
True. And we love you for it. We love, like, there is no better meme than the calm down Frames meme in my eyes of our little community. I love it.
a very specific thing. There's not really much you can do to improve it. It's like saying I improved Tylenol.
You don't believe that? You don't believe that insulin has been made more fast acting, more precise, more consistent?
What?
This is where I was like, oh my god, this...
Racing and low... dude,
insulin, when introduced to the bloodstream, it lowers your blood sugar.
Do you think... Wait, Peef, do you think that, like, the faster...
Why are you raising your hand? Why are you raising your hand?
I'm amazed that you're over here talking about insulin and you don't even know what it does.
I didn't... I just let you go ahead and talk. So now, not only I need to cut you off in the middle of your sentences.
Have you frozen? He's an idiot.
Just let you talk. You're the medical guy. I'm not the medical guy.
Do you think that
it was
faster
maddening.
Insulin is more expensive and is better, and slower acting insulin is like less good and is cheaper
for some people.
What?
Wait,
Some people need fast-acting insulin.
Just dodge.
Do you think that
there's nobody watching this from a neutral
diabetes and then poor people buy like slow-acting insulin because they're poor and they can't afford the fast one?
Well,
hold
up, Vivian. I got it.
That does happen sometimes.
Stop.
People ration their insulin.
This is giving me no. This is giving me a headache. Okay, on this because I'm sorry. I love you, Vivian, but there's a reason why people use fast acting versus slow acting. It's based on the rate that they usually their blood sugar will raise. Like fast acting is for people whose blood sugar raises really fast after eating or after having high sugar snack or something like that. Slow acting is for people that can have it regulated throughout the day. Fast acting also is for emergencies when someone's blood sugar rate.
I should have said
too
rapid
high,
acting,
right
but I
away,
forgot
like
that
a
that was a
spike.
kind.
These do very specific things for very specific reasons. There's kind of nothing you can do to improve that. Fast acting works fast. Slow acting works slow for very specific reasons.
Well, I mean, yeah, like.
And
you cut me
that
off as if I was saying
I wanted to
something
make sure
about-
that I wasn't doing that to Vivian. I wanted to specify that for Peef to make sure that we had the facts correct on the ground. Because it's very important. Like, if you're going to have this discussion and you're just going to say, well, they just can use whatever insulin is cheaper, they could just do that, then you have no base knowledge of what insulin is or how it works. You don't even know what diabetes is. Like, you could hear him when he was trying to come up with what insulin does when I asked him. And he's like, it raises, it lowers. No, it only lowers blood sugar. It only lowers blood sugar. That is the naturally occurring substance in your body that controls your blood sugar by lowering it. Glucagon raises it. It's essentially concentrated sugar. Like there's more to it than that, but you know. Yeah, I believe it's been getting into the nitty gritty. I believe that it's something like that. I would have to look that up to remember that. That's what you get when you haven't worked in the healthcare in so long. Like, you forget shit like that. Yeah, I think it's something like that. I just checked Bastiat's Discord and it looks like Peef has been getting into arguments with folks all day. He was mad. He was a mad boy. He was a mad boy. He's just he got exposed. I'm sorry. He just got exposed. He 100% got exposed. Like, I didn't even get to get into his takes about healthcare, where he said, like, we because we spend more than any other country per child on our education system, that there's no way to throw money at it. We just need to privatize it. Like, that's insane. That is insane. That's not how that works, because that doesn't address things like the reasons why our education system is bad. It's because it's underfunded. Like, even though we're throwing more at them per student, that's an average coming from the very top too. And he didn't even acknowledge that includes vouchers for private schools. It's like, oh my God, he was driving me nuts. Like, I was watching that. I was watching him sitting in the chat. I just kind of checked in after playing some Overwatch with my wife and some friends. I just kind of peeked in. And I heard this guy. And I'm like, he doesn't know what he's talking about, but he's saying it with such confidence. Like he's fucking Ben Shapiro. Firing off thing after thing after thing. And the final straw was when he got into healthcare. That was like, all right, I'm done. I'm going in. I'm off the top rope. I'm fucking coming in. Oh. True. Peef is just a dude who likes to toot the horn of the free market even when he doesn't know about the subject. I didn't even get into the fact that I'm for free market to, like, provide snack cakes and shit like that. Like, stuff we don't need. Yeah, free market all fucking day. Innovate on the new toy for my kids or something. Or, you know, stuff like that. There's some stuff that innovation, sure, whatever, for needless things works. But for things that people need, it doesn't work at all. It's insufficient as fuck. Which is why there's so many people, especially in this country, who have these needs that are not being met. And again, I'm going to say it just in case he's peeking around. I said insufficient. It's a different thing than inefficient. I know you have trouble distinguishing those words. So I'm just going to say it that way. That comes up pretty soon, I think.
But I was just like, I was
I'm
trying
sorry,
to work
I
out
was-
how this guy thought that insulin worked. Like, I just like it seems like he thinks that insulin is like a car, right? You get the slower one
No.
because you're poor. And
Some people.
and that
Here's
gets you
my
there.
only point on
That
this. Here's
gets
my
you
only
there
point on this.
just as much as the faster one does. But like
I know it's probably really great to hear your
100%
about
Carp.
what you think I might think, but
Carpe.
in case you're interested in what I actually am saying, is that some people do, in fact, due to financial situation, purchase insulins that might not be optimal for them, and that is something that is an option to people that they take sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's an
Nobody-
option to basically die if you have high
Right.
spikes in insulin or high spikes in blood sugar, and you buy a slow-acting insulin because it's cheaper, which actually it's the fast-acting that's much cheaper because they
hold
go
on.
faster. Then you're just choosing to die. You're choosing to go against your doctor's orders, and that's reasonable.
Yeah, it's not like diabetics consult
Hold
their
on.
doctors for their
I'm
fucking
gonna be charitable to
insulin.
Pete. I'm gonna be
I
charitable.
think you're talking at cross purposes to my point, but that's fine. You can keep hearing yourself talk about it.
I'm gonna be charitable to Pete. Does anybody actually disagree with his foundational claim, not his prescriptive claims about what it should be done, but about the facts that he's laying out?
That government can't provide better health care? Is that his
I mean,
foundation?
I don't.
He's
okay, I don't-
talking about whether you disagree that people, in fact, buy the wrong insulin for price reasons.
Yeah.
And you're
I'm not saying that. Hold on. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying is that not what's happening right now?
No. I've seen no evidence to prove that people are just buying the wrong insulins for themselves, because there would be a huge uptick in people dying from not having the correct insulin for themselves.
What, you mean like the beginning?
Basically what happens is the doctor prescribes
Crying
you
because they don't have the right insulin for themselves.
Hold on, there's two people talking. I can't.
I really should have finished this by pointing out that the bigger problem is actually people foregoing buying their insulin at all. That's the problem. They know what kind of insulin they need. They know what they need. But when they can't afford it, they don't just go buy the cheaper one, because chances are the cheaper one is going to be the one that kills you right away. So instead they just forego it at all, and they try to control their diabetes with diet alone, which is really, really difficult to do depending on what type of diabetes you have and the way that your body reacts to blood sugar. Like, that's the problem. People are dying from not using it at all because they can't even afford the cheaper kind. Like, I losing my damn mind, guys. Losing my damn mind.
What'd you say, Osiris?
So basically, what happens? So let's get the procedure down. So basically, what happens? You got diabetes or whatever, and the doctor says, "This is what you need." And he gives you the fast or the slow, right? There's no
Some
choice.
people also need the fast, like I said, because some people, even though they have the slow acting, which lasts all day for them to keep it regulated, they might have spikes at times, and if they have those spikes, they basically need that now. Just stick them, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Also, there's a sliding scale that a lot of people do, so they have to double up on them sometimes. Like, say if you're taking it in the morning, you take your long acting one to get you through the day, and you'll take like a faster acting one just before you eat to counteract your meal. Like, if you're on that sort of sliding scale to react to how you eat, you do that to combat your to moderate your blood sugar. So that's another thing too that needs to be recognized, that he has no fucking idea about. Like, you can take both.
Sort of like an EpiPen, which, by the way, is also.
I was about to make that joke. All right, now that we got insulin, talk through that. What drug do you guys want to talk about next? Because I mean, I honestly I don't know much about insulin at all. But to me, what insulin does and all that doesn't matter. The real problem is obviously pharmaceutical prices across the board, not just insulin, across the board. Whether you know what insulin does or not doesn't matter.
It's a good example because it's such a base product, and it doesn't cost that much to even produce. but it's like it's a necessary thing for a disease that a large amount of people have in this country.
The injection that I
there's
take,
no reason why this. Yeah, go ahead.
the injection I take, I wish was $300. Mine costs.
Look, I used to take $500 pills.
My injection
every
is
2 weeks.
$2,000.
You know what I did? You know what I did?
I gotta call this out, Osiris. This point is really, really bad. Because, like, for example, Freem's injections are, $500 pills. Yeah, that's welcome to the United States. Yeah, it's for his neck condition, right? His spinal condition. He needs that in order to continue living properly, like able to move, not be in an incredible amount of pain. Like, you can't just this point is just really bad, bud. You know I love you, but this is a really, really bad point.
To fix that problem about having to pay for that bill, I just don't take them anymore. Fuck them. That's how it's just too fucking expensive. Fuck that shit.
This is fucking insane to me because, like, if you lived in the UK, you would get that shit, and if you work, like, you might have to pay like £7.50, like $10, right? For your prescription. So for
I knew what you meant, friends.
For like a couple of weeks, so you might end up paying like $20 a month or whatever if you're working. If you're not working, you don't pay anything, right? Yeah. And you pay your fucking tax every year. You pay, like, on average, as we worked out.
It really was. It really was. But it's because he's at an impasse when I point out that it's cheaper to make it here. It doesn't change the price it costs to make insulin here. Insulin is incredibly easy to make for pharmaceutical companies. And it's a constant thing. And it's a captive market. You know? If I don't take my injection, arthritis affects my whole spine. Exactly. Yeah. It isn't. I totally agree with you. It is insane. I talk about this all the time. That's why I get so passionate about healthcare. Because, like, how often do I talk about the human cost of these things? The human cost of these decisions and these policies should never ever be divorced from the decision making process. Like, you have to recognize, like, there should not be an acceptable amount of people who have to suffer just because of quote unquote freedom or quote unquote whatever. Oh no. Do you still have your old one? Yeah, I thought you had two accounts. Under Freems knows, but don't know about Marc. No, I didn't know that. Yeah, that'll be what you have to do. Yeah. Oh well, it sucks. How long is it locked out for?
In tax, and that's if you're earning like 20-something thousand a year, which is sort of like the average wage here in the UK. So, like, it horrifies me. It horrifies me when I hear that people have to pay like fucking $1,000 for an ambulance trip.
Freem's out here with the calculator.
How does it even cost $1,000 to take the ambulance somewhere?
Gas,
maybe
you're
if
good,
you have to use, maybe if you have to use like.
No, actually, that goes back to the
way.
equipment that has to be provided, which is all marked up.
Like,
when I did medical transport, one of the things of the job that we'd have to do sometimes is we'd have to restock ambulances, because it was through an ambulance company. Yeah, you have, like, if something's so old, you throw it away. Had to remain sterile. If it fell out of the package, you threw it away. If the package broke while you were putting it in there and you touched it or anything, you throw it away. All those things have to stay sterile when they're put in their compartments. And you have to restock everything. They have to have the same amount they leave every single day. Because the big thing is, this I guarantee is obvious. You might need it, and if you don't have it, then well, you can't use it, and it's the difference between life and death in that situation. You know, I was doing work stuff and needed it. That's why I missed something. Oh, it's fine, man. It's fine. You're revamping the way you do manufacturing scheduling. Nice. Hoping Tories don't fuck our NHS. According to a troll earlier, it's not true, and they're not going to fuck your NHS. But he also said that I care more about trans people than I do white people. So, you know, got me. He's right. He said that I care more about trans people than white people. Oh, God. Yeah. And yeah, I was like, you know what? You're right. And then I banned him. It says, like, that wasn't very nice of you to call that out in that way. But yeah, you're fucking right. I do care about trans people a lot more than I care about white people. Because white people don't have anything to worry about. We literally don't. Oh, we care about you. I care about you. I care about individuals. Very true, very true. 2 years, that's insane. You know, they just want to give you time to talk yourself out of it. In a video game. I hate that I have to say that every single time I do something that implies violence. Because Hassan said what he said about 9/11. America deserves 7/11.
That is an extreme problem, and the American healthcare system is not good. And one of the things it does is make up costs like that, right? They're like, you know, the $300 Band-Aid, things like this that never. It's basically fraud in any other name, but it doesn't get treated that way.
That's because we don't have any price
weird
control.
idea that the FDA is like super restrictive. Like, I know for a fact that like the FDA is much more willing to let you have shit like chlorinated chicken, for example.
Apparently that's how that works.
So I find it.
Don't worry about it, man. It was your first one.
More restrictive on some things and less restrictive on others. It's not. It's
chlorinated chicken.
So wait,
it just means that they wash the chicken with chlorine. That's what they do in the United States. They wash it with bleach.
Oh, so it means it's real clean. I got it. Yeah, I want chlorinated chicken, right?
Yes, you actually do. No. You actually do.
There's a reason why like most countries outside of the U.S. will not import any of our produce, like whether it's our vegetables, our fruits, our meats.
Admittedly, like produce and drugs are like two different things. So maybe they're like really strict on drugs and really lax on food, but like I know they're really lax on food compared to the EU.
Especially now with the way that
because this is like one of the big issues.
I keep saying the FDA, but it's the USDA. I really need to correct myself on that. It's the USDA that's being dismantled by the Trump administration. Just so, because I feel like if I ever were to blow up, or if I ever did finally bite the bullet and just be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna waste my time and go talk to Destiny. People would be searching through my VODs and be like, haha, you don't know. Wait, what did I miss? One of my viewers told me today she did HRT approved. Nice. It's nice. I love that. Ugh, that's good shit right there. I like hearing good news for people so much more. I mean, of course, but you know, it brings a certain feeling to the stream. I can say that. Trying to figure out where a dog is. Zoe! I'll let this play while we're trying to figure this out.
Came up. This is like one of the big issues that came up with Brexit, because like we're we were worried that without EU restrictions, like we're gonna start importing shit from America that just like currently wouldn't be considered safe for human consumption.
So okay,
freely here.
I have another question for Peef. Then I've been trying to be like
the
as
free marketplace, buddy. The free marketplace.
I've been trying to be.
If it's cheaper, but it causes.
I'm
like,
sorry,
problems
Free.
or,
I'm
like,
so sorry.
Yeah, they'll still sell enough of it. Like it's fine.
Okay. So Peef. I know you talked about like how your fix for the problem would be free global market, right?
That is one thing that would help. Yes.
One thing. Okay. So what would be the cons to having the government take it over?
Ow. Yeah. Jesus.
Oh well, dear God. The cons are massive. One of the most important cons is that we will be less innovative. There will be less of an incentive to create new drugs that are on the bleeding edge.
Can I push
So,
back up on that?
well, hold on. I actually had a notepad out here where I've been reading stuff this whole time. The last big innovation in insulin actually happened in 2006. I take back what I said originally, which the only thing it was is the dispenser that it comes in. It wasn't actually the medicine itself. So there hasn't been any real innovation in insulin, but the price has grown significantly.
Seriously, savorable. I'll come back by that.
So where's that money going?
Travel, like plastic deals that you can like set it like at the top and inject it yourself rather than having to do it like in a.
Yeah, that's what my injections come in. It's called an auto injector.
Yeah. I forgot the name of that, but yeah, that's the last big innovation. But I mean, it's important. It made it so people weren't overdosing easier. Like old people can actually see what it is they're getting, how much they're getting, and they can get the right dose for the.
It also gave them bodily autonomy because they could just take care of it themselves.
And I'm not trying to do like gotcha moments, Peef. I'm like.
No, that's in my that's a point in my favor.
Okay.
But I'm happy for you to try to do the gotcha if you wanted to. That's totally fine. Whatever you want.
You see how fucking shitty he is.
What is the problem? Like, what's the issue with when there hasn't been any real innovation to begin with, and something
he thinks that like hands down that works in his favor because that can only happen in a free market system, but that's entirely not true. Like, and I've said this before, government has more of an incentive to like find a cheaper and easier way to provide these things. For one thing, like I keep bringing up, it's a lot cheaper and easier to not have a captive market. If you can cure a disease, the government's going to more so want to be able to find a cure than it is to continue with continuous palliative care. Like that's truth right there. That's not working in his favor at all. He's just assuming that the free market could only come up with that solution, when in actuality, it just needs the technology to be there. It needs somebody to say, I want to do N thing to do this. And anyone could do that. Like, anyone could do that. They don't need to be in a free market to do that. Yeah, he totally does. Like, the ending of this is...
like insulin. I know there's like tons of different medicines we can go over. I'm sure other medicines are being more innovative,
Insulin is not a particularly great example of innovation, although, like you said, it still does happen. I can name all kinds of recent innovations. Gene therapy being
Did you hear the pivot? What did he say earlier? What did he say earlier about innovation in insulin? Oh, there's tons of things you can do with insulin. They could make it more targeted and they can make it work faster, which is a total what the fuck moment.
An incredible and also incredibly expensive innovation. That
I get that. There is definitely innovation in medicine, and I know a lot of innovation does come from America in medicine. I'm talking about how does the price increase in insulin go towards innovation? Like, why is the price being raised whenever hasn't been innovation in so long?
There is the American healthcare system.
This was a
is very
great point, by the way,
It's
Frames.
neither a pure government system nor a market system. It's about half and half, which might be the worst of all worlds. I'm willing to accept that it is possible.
I really wanted to push back on this because it's not half and half in this country. It's not even close to half and half. Like, if I'm being conservative, I would say we're about maybe 25%. Like, our government is 25% of our healthcare, and the remainder is all corporate. Peefsmash, yeah, he is an idiot. But like, it's not this huge giant thing that the the government has half of it and the corporations have half of it. No, like, the government has a very minor role in it. Like, they provide for Medicare for patients over the age of 65, but the thing about that is it's insufficient in a lot of ways because of the way it pays out. Like, it's an 80-20. Like, that's how it pays out. It pays out 80% of the cost, and the 20% goes to you no matter what the procedure is. It's always 80-20. And when it pays out to the providers, it has a standardized scale, which is something I get into later. But, like, the thing about it is that, like, you can see when I start reacting when he says something that, like, just is like, that's wrong, that's stupid, that's wrong. And, like, because I'm like, I can't let this go on. And maybe I'm too aggressive. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm an asshole. I fully accept that. But I really don't like it when people just spout nonsense that they clearly don't know about, like it's truth, objectively. Like, that's not true. Like, even being the most conservative I can be, which I guarantee it's less, our government is not 50% of our healthcare. They're way less than that. Way less. I came in really hot. I came in really, really hot. You guys can go back and watch that. I came in going, all right, motherfucker, we're going. This is, you messed with the wrong goddamn motherfucker. I was in it. I was so pissed off. I was done. So I wanted to knock him on his ass, and I did repeatedly. I just got more and more tired, and, like, it just got more and more insane.
That a pure government system could be better than what we have now, because what we have now is kind of,
I didn't clip that out.
Kind of a combination of sins, where you have a profit motive that is enabled by government.
Absolutely.
Force.
Terrible.
What we'll have, so things that'll happen is, so remember, like I said, 50% of healthcare spending is through government programs already. What that means is that somebody is writing a check on the.
Yeah, Saberwolf. I brought that up earlier. I brought up how like, literally the way that companies can get around the patents even now with the crazy amount of extensions that they've had on these patents. Yeah. It pulled straight out of his ass, where he's gotten everything else. But, like, make sure I remember what we're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, I got into it how, like, they can change one small part of the of, like, an inactive ingredient in a drug and just be like, it's a new drug. Patent, please. And that's not a function of government. If he wants to say that he's completely against patents, well, okay, that's not very free market of you. Because I feel like the part of the free market is them being able to own their thing. But, I'm largely am against patents. You know, if he wants to say I'm against patents, sure, but that's like the phrase that he keeps using. That's a point in my favor. That this should be up to the public to decide. But even if you get rid of the patents and you release it out to the public, like he thinks this is going to work out as, and it's just the market and everybody's going to compete for it, you can still have price fixing. You still just choose to price fix. There's no such thing as mom and pop pharmaceutical company. That's not a thing. It's like mom and pop oil company. People who do these things usually are already rich beyond your wildest dreams. Most patents are based by publicly funded research. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing to bring up. You know, and I had the thought in my head a couple times, but yeah, a lot of these innovations, they come from the military. And I don't know if he knows who funds the military, but it ain't corporations. It's fucking us. It's taxes. So, what?
American taxpayer whenever they write up costs. So corporations, instead of a free market system where corporations, in order to get
taxes,
have to have a customer agree to a price that's transparent, and then say, I am willing to pay that price for this good, and if it's too expensive, I won't do it. And by the way, if it is too expensive, people won't do it, as Osiris pointed out, and is been shown through randomized controlled trials of healthcare subsidies. People do limit the amount of spending that they do on healthcare.
Yes, lung cancer. I kept trying to remember what kind of cancer it was that Cuba came out with. But yes, they have a cancer vaccine in Cuba, and it's not allowed to be sold here because we need the patients. Customers. Exactly. Well, me and Jenny, when we were young, we were like, hey, we need to come up with a better, cheaper insulin. So we got our farm ready and just came up with an insulin. Now, I might be a lowly country insulin maker. Hey, baby.
You're playing fetch and she just left me.
She was probably checking on me. I don't know why.
She literally just stopped in the middle of the game and just ran upstairs.
I don't know why, but she's been kind of attached to me.
I'm all sweaty from sitting down.
From sitting down?
Yes, all I was doing was throwing the rawhide.
When did you take your temperature last?
A little bit ago.
What was it at?
99.8.
God damn it.
Come on, Zoe.
Oh, did you take your second dose yet, or are you taking?
Not yet. I'm trying to make her love me. She won't love me.
She's just. I need to spend more time. I think it's just that I haven't spent much time with her. I'll be done in a little bit. Spend time with both of you. She's being very weird. Come on down the Granny Zannies. It's so good. She did last night. She came in and she was so afraid. She was so afraid. She doesn't like it when I get loud. I need to work on that.
What the hell?
I'll be down to give her some attention a bit. 99.8, guys. 99.8. Dogs can smell ghosts. Is that what I am? If I acknowledge that I'm a ghost, will I disappear?
Expensive. But in our system, companies can essentially put it on the tab of the taxpayer directly, and due to the bloat of the system, the government just ends up paying it. They just don't have the interest or resource or incentive, and to do the resource required to check every one of these bills for fake bullshit charges that hospitals will put on people would be completely impossible anyway. what we have right now is corporate greed at its max, rent seeking off of government.
Like, to be honest, and I really loved Vivian and Rocket's contributions, and also yours. I kind of looked at you as like a co-moderator with Freems, Osiris, but I would have much rather like this be one-on-one versus me versus him, because like this fucking guy.
Power and government being able to just pull directly from the taxpayer first with no, and the taxpayer, their only option is to leave the country. It's not like they can.
And you think what would curb that is removing all regulation and opening up the market to the rest of the world?
I mean, I actually do agree with Peef on the point that the two combined is terrible. Like, and pretty much, like I can even, I know I do this all the fucking time, and I'm sorry, guys, but like West Virginia, for example, with them trying to subsidize coal companies to bring back coal, when you know it's not going to fucking work. I don't believe in subsidizing in that way. So
that's my question. That's the essence of my question. Does anybody disagree with his assessment of the situation?
No, I think we're all on the same level. I think that one side.
I think my brain would implode. Like, this is where I get into my whole thing where I have a high standard of people I debate, unless I'm on a panel with them. Like, I feel like it's wasting my people's time, and it's drama farming. When he was on Wired Stream, I was yelling my ass off in chat. Yes. I'm trying to like figure out like what his point is and how it works to what he's trying to sell. Because a lot of the points he made, he was making points in favor of what I was saying. And then I would have to explain how that's actually something that, no, if we did a single payer system, we would actually fix that. Like, he didn't think of any of this, like, at all. Because it wasn't in his book by fucking Milton Friedman.
Wants to remove one half of it, and the other side wants to remove the other half of it.
So the disagreement is on how you fix it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's also in some of the facts too, because I mean, saying that like I completely agree with you that there are hospitals that charge. It's a point that I made actually earlier to another streamer. Hospitals do overcharge for specific procedures if they know that insurance is going to cover it and pay it out. And there is nobody watching that. Ideally, the person to watch that would be the government.
Beta mess.
I had to.
But, in the case of something like Medicare and Medicaid, they have standardized pricing for procedures.
So here
they say this procedure costs this much based on, how much it costs to actually provide the procedure on average across all of the United States. So we pay out this amount for this procedure, no matter what. So there's no way to bloat it. There's no way to lie to the government. There's no way to fraud them, because they're like, no, you're getting paid this.
The government also does pay less than the market does. The government, in fact,
I just explained.
If they only paid Medicare rates, most hospitals.
That's literally my point. The reason why the government pays out less is because the private market isn't bloating up the price by paying differently. He literally just proved my point by saying, oh no, the government pays less, like it's a bad thing. It isn't that that's hurting them. That's helping healthcare be, regulated as it should. The government pays lower than the marketplace. I guess the implication is that is bad, or that it's not possible to scale it up. Yeah. Well, I mean, regardless, they're not underpaying for how much it costs to provide the procedure. Like, these hospitals are upcharging for the same procedure to receive more money. And a lot of that, I explained it in this, is to make up for costs of things like well, the overhead that it costs, because insurance companies do that purposely to discourage you from using insurance, but also to make up for bills that aren't paid by people. And there's a lot of that. It's to help write off the debt. Because they lose a lot of money now. They're not going to lose money. Like, I keep making this point. They would they always bring up rural hospitals. Rural hospitals would be in a much better position under a single payer system, because they would know exactly what they're getting paid, and they wouldn't have to send 20,000 different bits of paperwork to hopefully get it paid, just to only be denied, and then put that person in debt. Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's skin to skin contact, where they justify it as being because the baby is very susceptible to disease. They have to basically disinfect a lot of things in order to it. Like, it's stupid. You shouldn't have to charge for that, but we shouldn't have to charge for any of this. It's insane. Like, that should just be provided. And there's no argument against that. They're just saying, well, we need to have people make money from it because. And that's it. That's it.
Be solvent financially.
Not true.
And again, just Google that question. That's all I can say.
I've looked into that. Actually, hospitals would be able to make more money if we were under a single payer system. It would save them on overhead. It would save them on actually knowing that payments are getting paid up. It would save them on having to.
The thing that's about to happen, because I just remembered it's here. I'm pretty sure it's here. Is his single dumbest point. And I know what you're thinking. He's been pretty dumb. Yeah, it is. That's just because of how it was recorded. I have it cranked. I could. Hang on. I can actually help this to some extent. But when Freems comes in, it's going to be really loud. Okay. I'll try and monitor it, but I just put some gain on the video. But yeah, this is seriously the dumbest point. If I'm right on this is the dumbest point. And use compressor, voice meter. Oh, I don't have that on there. I have a limiter. Let's see if the limiter works. We'll try it at the default setting. Thanks for the warning. Yeah, I'll do what I can.
Account for debt from people who can't pay for their hospital
bills. There we go.
It'd save them on a lot of things. They
Jesus
would actually
Christ,
make
it's $340
off of a single payer system.
The free market saves in many of the same ways. The free market healthcare,
No, it doesn't.
which by the way does exist. In some small cases, there are
because the business model of insurance companies is to not pay out. The only way that they're profitable is if they don't pay out. So they do things like increase overhead. They have you fill out several different insurance questionnaires and papers to make sure that you can justify them paying for your procedure.
Yes, all that's true. Let me finish my sentence, and you wouldn't have need to said that, because there are free market centers for surgeries that do not take insurance money nor government money. They know
how much more expensive are they?
They're far cheaper. That's the brilliance of it.
Okay, far cheaper than what?
Yeah. Okay. I've actually.
Far cheaper than market rates.
Far cheaper than market rates, but is it cheaper than, say, if you were a citizen of Canada and got the procedure?
Not really comparable. It's too broad.
Look at that. Look at that dodge. Look at that dodge.
I don't know exactly, actually, but I'm assuming that some government can subsidize it to the point where and tax people enough money to where it looks like it's cheaper. But what I'm saying is, in America right now, there are surgery centers, and I'm going to link an Econ Talk episode. This is a Stanford professor of economics interviewing the person who runs one of these free market centers, and they don't take insurance money, they don't take government money, yet they provide much lower costs. They have complete transparent pricing. This is something that immediately makes healthcare, the American healthcare system, better because prices are obvious, prices are transparent.
This isn't the point. But he does say something incredibly stupid coming up pretty soon here.
Transparent, and you can offer whatever you want, and the government can't tell you that you can't offer it. And by the way, like I said, prices much lower. I just want to look up infection rates lower, outcomes better. Go ahead.
There's something that that's very obvious that needs to be addressed though. First of all, yes, is it cheaper compared to the rest of the market? I mean, I'm sure it is, but is it cheaper than, say, in another country where it's provided by a single payer system? I guarantee it's like infinitesimally not. But the big thing that you need to recognize is the amount that we pay for the healthcare in this country is not how much it costs to provide it. These costs are not inherent.
Yes, I agree.
So then, if you agree with that, then even at these free marketplaces, I guarantee it's still marked up higher than if it was.
And then if people were slaves, yes. If people did not get
there, it
the
is. Slaves.
Oh my God, Jesus, dude!
Hold on. Should work as other.
So it's insufficient as fuck. That's why I'm bringing up that this doesn't work.
Inefficient in one way. It's inefficient in one way.
No, not inefficient. Insufficient.
I want to get to the root of the problem.
Yeah,
because I think the root of the problem is where you guys.
Did you hear that? It's like the first time he's heard that word. He immediately went to inefficient. He went to efficiency. He went to efficiency and could not, because he can't think of the word insufficient. If it's not providing it properly to people and doling it out to enough people for it to actually work to help people, he doesn't even think about that because he doesn't even know the word to explain that. He doesn't know. We need people to be slaves, right? And if we don't like our rules, we just assassinate them. Twitch admins I'm paraphrasing a right-wing liberal. I caught that. That was and that wasn't a liberal. That was a libertarian. I love how people who are anti-government healthcare like go woke about forced labor, but then go apply to it in any other market, including private. Yes. Like we're slaves. We're slaves if it's a single payer system. How? Well, because we're forced to give care to people, as opposed to in the private market where we just give it out on our own volition, apparently. So, like, if a doctor can just choose to be like, no, I don't want to treat you, that's much better. Because if you actually have to do the thing that you're paid to do, that's slavery. Ignoring the whole thing where you're paid to do it. And paid really well. Slaves, guys. Slaves. Apparently, Trudeau not only is someone who appreciates the fine art of blackface, he also brought back slavery by supporting the single-payer system. Just, my God. But yeah, he doesn't know the difference between the words inefficient and insufficient. Like, God, I'm trying to rewind it to certain points, but it's kind of difficult with the mouse. I'm doing what I can. But yeah, he literally is just like, insufficient. Like, he does not know that word. We are wage slaves in Denmark, I can confirm. I mean, we're wage slaves here in America, too. You know, one of the things that keeps us bound to our different jobs is our health care. But freedom. Freedom, right? Not freedom to go find another job. You know, lest you go without those provided services. And if you're in, like, an accident while you're trying to find a new job, you know, either go in debt or die. No one does. No one does. I can confirm no one did that. But it was insane to hear this.
And you guys are talking at surface level stuff.
I'm so sorry. They really do.
Where you guys probably diverge at another level. I think Marc is saying that healthcare should be provided as a necessity to the public, where Peef is saying that it should be affordable.
Here's the thing, though. I want people to be able to make money off the ads, so that's why I don't do ad block. Because, I mean, as a creator myself, I feel that. I don't understand. The rich just want the freedom of enslaving/killing poor people with medical debt. Oh, believe me, I get it.
All of the public.
Nicely done.
Is that true?
I'm saying that. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I think the point that we diverge on, it's obvious. I believe in markets. This is something I that is a prior baseline for me. The more I learn about markets, the more I learn how generally they don't fail, and when they work, they are extremely helpful to.
Markets fail all the time. Like, markets fail all the time. Seriously. Like, what?
Everybody. Gains from trade abound when you allow markets. That is a baseline that I believe he probably doesn't have.
So this.
Yeah. There's an if in there. There's an if in there that you're not that you're not saying though.
Well, he hasn't got to finish the sentence quite yet, and then we'll.
I use the fact that markets tend to work so well as evidence that they could work here if tried. And they have been tried. It seems to work better than the current system. I'm not saying it's impossible for government systems to work at all here. It is definitely a very strange case. It's not as easy as should we have free markets for corn, which we very clearly should have free markets for corn. But
this transitions into food. I forgot this transitions into food, and he makes a really dumb statement about food. Oh God, here it comes. He brought up corn. Guys. He brought up corn.
Case, it is more dicey. It is more difficult. It's a topic that, I've only been really studying for a year or two, whenever I probably need to study for fucking 50 years before I really will understand everything I need to know. But what is interesting to me, and what doesn't come up in a lot of these discussions, almost any discussion on Twitch especially, is that there is an argument for free market healthcare, and there are examples of it working better than the current system that I don't think anyone exposes themselves to, whereas everyone's exposed to the cases for Medicare for all.
When the current system is this bad, I think you could probably find a free market system or a relatively deregulated system that works better. Sure. Does that mean it's going to be a good system? Does it mean that it's going to be better than like single payer in the UK? Does it mean it's be better than like whatever socialist healthcare system we think of? I don't know, buddy.
Can't be sure.
This whole conversation.
So two things. I also want to point out. I also don't I don't swing for the absolute fences as a rule. I'm happy to see improvements on the margins. I'm happy to see 1% improvement a year. That adds up. I'm happy to.
And I wanted to point out, like, yeah, if just people die in the process, people just People just die in the process. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, guys. You know, you got to crack a couple eggs to make an omelet, right? Who wants to volunteer to be the first egg? Anybody? Anybody? No takers. I guess I'll do it. Jesus Christ.
This is the kind of neoliberal shill in me, is I'm happy to see things gradually and slowly improve as long as there's a consistent trend. Which,
well, I'm sure that'll be of great comfort to all the people who fucking die in the meantime.
Yeah. Again, you have to consider the unintended consequences of drastic change. Drastic change is much higher risk.
Thanks for
coming by. And the people who are at risk are the very poor. It is not the very rich. The very rich will just...
if you're fucking starving on the street, right? And I give you like a grain of rice a day. I've improved your situation, but you still fucking die, right? But like, if I suddenly drastically change the situation and give you a bowl of food, right? Or like, even better, like give you your own fucking rice field so you can grow your own fucking rice, right? Like, I don't see how that drastic.
To be fair, does anybody think Peef is just a dishonest actor though?
Does anyone?
I don't know if he's dishonest. I think he's ignorant, but you know, and I think he's really cocksure.
He's posting like libertarian think tank shit in my fucking.
I'm a libertarian. What the fuck? I mean, you're gonna post liberal thought, like.
No.
By the way, this was to show you like how bad liberals have gotten in this country. This entire time, I thought he was just a anti-Bernie liberal. Honestly, he called all of us liberals. I thought he was a liberal the entire time, and I'm like, oh, he's a libertarian. Oh wow, he is incredibly stupid. Like, that was the moment. You can kind of see it in my face. Where I'm just like, oh. Alright, now I know what I'm dealing with here. Now I know. Not stupid. Well, purposely ignorant. Now I know he's a libertarian. But this was the first instance where I'm like, oh, this guy's a libertarian. Like, this guy just believes in fucking, like, fantasy land markets that wouldn't even work. Like, under his own system, it would just fail into into fucking feudalism. Like, he's extra level dumb.
Of course, no. None of us are liberals.
And by the way, it's not just.
If I was going to post something as evidence, like I would want. If the only source I could find was like biased towards my position, I would do exactly what I did on fucking Leon Cypher's stream the other day, where I literally said, right, like we were talking about immigration, and I was like, you have to be aware that this is from the Cato Institute, right, who are fucking libertarian and pro-open borders, right? I would first come off and say, like,
it's not an argument against
bias towards my position, right? But also, I would like try and find like more independent fucking sources for it as well, like. Yeah, it's very difficult to find any source without a bias, but like what you have posted to me is a source from someone who is from an organization that's specifically set up to push a particular ideology.
Is a Stanford economics professor who happens to be willing to interview a person. He has also interviewed all of your favorite fucking economists and invited on all the ones that wouldn't even show up. This is the oldest economics podcast in the history of fucking time. So it's just, again, if you can't use as a disqualifying fact against my positions.
I'm not using by the way, it as a disqualifying fact.
You can't use it disqualify my sources by saying my.
That thing, Sir Vince, about the America is the 1%. He was using that. That was one of the things that almost made me jump in right there, because like I end up making the same argument that can be used against this. I think pretty soon here, where I point out that like his baseline for what is acceptable is just slightly above a third world country. Like, that's his baseline. That is an improvement. Hey, if we're not the poorest country and we're just slightly above it, thumbs up. We're doing it. We're doing it, guys. Victory.
Sources do in fact agree with me.
Hold up. What political positions does this professor hold?
Again, I don't know his exact political positions. But he is also a believer in markets.
Okay. So
See,
if I looked him up, if I looked him up and he had like a specific bias towards libertarian, you would admit that source probably isn't very good, would you?
Oh no, I would not admit that at all.
You probably should.
Again, this is a
Because
similar
wait,
thing.
wait.
I think people agree with me.
Hold on. Wait, can you disqualify a source because they agree with you or because they're wrong?
Yeah.
Well, if they're
qualify it because they're wrong, but like the thing is when we're talking about
okay, we passed the bar.
Okay.
We allowed to have a position.
Look, I
There's too many
understand
people
that, but
talking at once.
Jordan Peterson's a fucking professor, okay? Like, not all professors say fucking smart shit all the time, alright?
It's an interview with a guy. It's not even him. He's asking questions.
Some professors...
He's asking questions, guys.
Ideology into their work. It happens all the fucking time. I mean, the rapid on...
And by the way...
I talked over it, but I really wanted to go back to the parts I'm in. The stream is 27% more handsome at those parts. It was a whole lot less angry when you were in. You missed some shit. I'm sure you heard about it. We pulled some shit. Yeah. In case you missed what Vivian just said, she said that interviewers always insert their ideology. Interviewers will insert their ideology into an interview all the time, which is true. 100% true. Dave Rubin is the master at this. It's the only thing he's good at. He personally doesn't have an ideology, but he can ask questions in a way that sugarcoats someone else's ideology to like serve it to someone who might be on the fence about it. Like, oh, this person sounds reasonable. And then all of a sudden they end up supporting genocide. Like, without even recognizing that that's where they're leading. Like, he did that with Stefan Molyneux. He does it with all the right-wing crazies that he has on. But do you know who he does push back against? Marianne Williamson. I'm glad you figured it out, Micro. You're much better for it. You would have been insufferable if you would have fell for that con. For that con. Who does this? Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin does this. Like a bunch of Fox News hosts do this. Like they insert an ideology into a question to lead it somewhere. Like there's a lot of people that do this. Tim Pool does it. Calls himself liberal. He's like, oh yeah, I'm a liberal. I vote Democrat, but like he always seems to blame the left for everything. You're talking about Dave Rubin? Yeah, he blocked me years ago. I'm unblocked on my current account though. I wonder if I should step my game up. They're all disingenuous. Osiris, they're all disingenuous. Like 110%. They just want to make money. A lot of these people, they don't have an ideology. I guarantee it. Their ideology is, how can I make money? That's why a lot of them sound really stupid. It's because they haven't thought any of this shit through.
He acknowledges all of his priors in the very interview. He said, "Here's what I believe to start off."
But the deeper point.
Hold on, I don't know who's saying what again.
The deeper point that I'm trying to make, right, is basically what we were saying like half a fucking hour ago when we were like.
Which is really funny, because you missed the whole thing where those stakes were. It was a stock photo. He got it off of Google. He didn't even cook them. Oh, Dave. No, not at all. Because Tulsi, okay, here's the truth about Tulsi. Tulsi is right wing. She's very crypto about it, but she's very, very right wing. She should be a Republican. Like, she has very, very conservative views on most things. Like, people used to tell me, oh, she supports Medicare for all, until she released her not Medicare for all plan. All right, we'll see you later, Micro. Thanks for popping in, man.
Like, it seems like you've got all these fucking things from exactly the same place, and it's because you're towing this very, very specific kind of line that, like, I don't know, Marc Monkey recognizes it better than me because he's had to deal with it a hell of a lot more. But it definitely seems to me like you have this dialogue tree, and, like, straying from it makes you very uncomfortable and unable to, like, defend anything. So,
me, put me wherever you want. I'm not on a fucking tree, dude.
I'm gonna specify.
You're going very ad hominem in a world where I have not made one against any of you.
Hold up. So, the problem that I think you're going to run into when pushing what you believe is you find it acceptable for us to be better than, like, the bare bottom, when we actually want to achieve and be better and raise the bar constantly for everyone else on top of it. And see ways that we can raise the bar even more, basically providing better and better for everybody. You know, markets don't do that because their concentration on profit when it comes to things that are needed in order to survive are incredibly insufficient to providing that to people.
Did you notice what I said there? You notice how I did that? Did you catch that? How I emphasize insufficient. Because I know he doesn't know the damn word.
Okay, so, firstly, my view that we can, with a consistent, slow push, improve things is by the way, completely vindicated by our progress on global poverty. Global poverty reduces when countries liberalize their markets. This is an absolute fact of macroeconomics, and it's been true in all the...
I didn't push back on this enough, but if I would have pointed out that a lot of those countries, what ends up happening is, well, a lot of child labor, a lot of child slavery, you know, they get really, really, like, there are like a couple of people who get really rich, and yeah, that may raise the average income of said country, but it also creates a giant, like, slave class to work under them, to be monetized. Yeah, seriously.
These comparative studies, look at the richest countries, they have liberalized markets. Secondly, I am not saying that I don't want to reach...
Yes, the richest countries has liberalized markets because they were rich to begin with, and they created liberalized markets and found a way to monetize that. It's the whole thing with, I was born on third base, and I think I hit a triple. I was born into this rich family, and, you know, I used that to make more money for myself. Oh, cool. You must be really, really smart. Or you got incredibly lucky and were able to just, like, already have something to turn into something more, which is what you need in order to get ahead. Like 110%. You can't just, like, the rags to riches stories are so rare, and they have to do a lot of really shady shit that they won't ever talk about in order to get there. And it usually involves screwing over other people and stealing ideas. Or lucking into a really, really terrible industry. Hi, Elon Musk. He actually told me the economic freedom map was nonpartisan. Yeah. Yeah. Like, for the world... Like, I'm really confused by that so much. It's so dumb. I don't even want to go down it because, like, oh my god, Bad Mouse literally has a video on that, actually, the economic freedom map. I don't even know what that is. Is it for the world? It sounds really stupid already. If you want if you want leftists to actually take your ideas seriously, calling it the economic freedom map, like that's a shitty name. Maybe I'll have to watch the video.
Some goal of successful, cheap things for everybody. That's what we have in America all the fucking time in the places where our markets are most free. Okay, this is why food in America is so cheap. We have lower grocery spending on food in America than almost any other country in the world, despite the fact that food is a very free market.
I got to stop you there. Our food is incredibly terrible for us. The reason it's so cheap, at least specifically, the food that is actually really fucking terrible for us is because we subsidize the shit out of corn to where corn farmers have overpopulated the country with corn. That's why we need to switch to corn syrup. But hang on. Okay, because I need to address this. Because if you're going to talk about how cheap our food is and how good that is, you have to acknowledge all the health problems that came with it and the reason why those health problems came about. And it's because of the free market and us not really regulating it and us, providing unnecessary subsidies to companies that don't need it anymore. Like, you have to acknowledge that these things are inherently bad. So to say that our food is
now you're just
cheaper.
yourself up. I already said we should.
No. Hang on. I need to finish this point because it's not. I'm not gish galloping. I'm not giving you 20 things to respond to. I'm giving you one. Okay.
Sprint's holiday deals are so big. I need help spreading.
Got me again. God damn it. I feel like Freems is just sitting there hitting the fucking add button.
Thing I already just agreed with, but okay, go ahead.
Okay.
It's like, wait for it. Got him.
When you talk about how cheap our food is and how it's a good thing, you're writing off the necessary harm that comes from having us provide this cheap food so cheaply in the way that we do, in a way that no other country's standards are that low. This is why I say your bar is set to being just higher than, like, I don't know, a third world country, when ours is to be just as good as everybody else or better. How is that? Hang on. No, Jesus Christ.
Go to a supermarket in Scandinavia. You will find it is not as good quality as supermarkets here. You probably haven't been, or you haven't actually looked. They wish they could be Walmart with their options of both quality, very quality options, and cheap options.
That happened, guys.
I don't know. I've been to plenty of supermarkets in the UK, Finland, Japan, and I find a varying quality. Admittedly, Japan is actually pretty fucking expensive, but like across Europe, I find varying quality and generally nothing that's like complete garbage. I don't know. Like I definitely felt like I had better quality fucking food when I was in Finland than when I was in the United States. That's for sure.
I mean, did you choose the right quality food again? So,
what's with this qualifier? Why are you pulling these qualifiers out of your ass when you're proven wrong?
It's like every single goddamn time. It's like, well, actually, you're really wrong on this. I've actually been to this country, and when I was there, I felt like, this was actually better provided. Well, if you got the right thing, I'm sure. Like, what? If the median bar is lower in the U.S. than in another country, then guess what? Our median bar is lower and needs to be raised up. That's a problem. That's a problem. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. Oh my God. Like, what are you missing here, dude? What are you missing here? What are you not understanding about this? Like, she proved you wrong. And then you add a qualifier afterwards to just say, okay, no, I still have to have my fucking ball. I might have gave you my cookie, but I ate it. Asshole. Fuck you.
People have choice. In America, we allow people to have choice. That is relevant. People can choose to eat junk food, and by the way,
I don't feel like no. When we talk about choice, we talk about like what's available to the common person, right? So if I go into a fucking
I mean, the reason I let this topic go on from my perspective was because I can definitely see a direct correlation between healthcare and food. And, you know, especially in this country where our food is actually really terrible, we can draw a direct correlation because, like, everything is full of fucking preservatives. Like, I think I've talked about this before. One of me and Glam's favorite YouTube shows is this guy named Mike Jevons. And he does these week on different foods. And he's done week-ons like cheap food. Their cheap food in the UK, it has a shorter even their frozen foods have a shorter shelf life than ours does. And B, they look way better quality than anything we have. Even the cheapest shit. Even the cheapest shit is way better quality than our cheap shit. Like, bringing a fucking Marie Calendar or a banquet meal from the U.S. over there to see like a fucking God, what is their show, their store, the big store over there? Frozen, you can help me with this. What's the something co? What is the store? Tesco. Yes, Tesco. Like Tesco Select or whatever. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Tesco Select, like cheap ass meals. The cheapest of the cheapest looks way better than a fucking banquet meal from the US that costs $1. And the banquet meal is good for like a year in the freezer. Yes, Frozen. I said a year. Even our frozen foods are so packed full of preservatives. And that is hurting us. There's been many studies proving that is physically hurting us. Yeah, it's an insane amount of time that we can keep these things in our fridge and freezer. Because we pack them just full of preservatives. And that has a negative effect on our health. So on top of having a negative effect on our health, we have a shitty healthcare system that doesn't provide. Like, that's the through line. There's your through line. Like, oh my god. But that's why I was okay with like talking about this. Like, otherwise I'd been like, dude, we were just talking about fucking healthcare. Can you stay on topic? Like, you know, I have no problem saying that to him.
Shit. If I go into like a 7-Eleven in Japan, right?
Oh,
right,
yeah.
And I want to get myself like something to eat, right? Just fucking anything, okay? And I've got like I don't know, 1,000 yen in my pocket, right? Like about $10. Then I can probably buy myself like a fucking a sandwich, right? Or like a prepackaged katsu or something, right? For like 500, 600 yen. Right, I could probably get like one of their little like really nice healthy ready meals, right? If I want to spend like 900.
Ooh, another example, and this is something I was going to bring up last night. I was going to talk about how like, yeah, okay, so you can go to the store with $1 and you get like 5 packs of ramen. Good for a long ass time. 5 packs of ramen, super cheap, 20 cents each. Where I'm at, ramen is packed full of sodium. Here, it's the shittiest quality shit. It's like 90% sodium. It's like half of your daily allowance of sodium in one packet of ramen. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but hang on. $1,800 milligrams of sodium. Americans consume, the FDA recommends the average American consumes no more than 2,300. So that's, I said half. Guys, I said half. It's 80%. That's 80% of your daily allowance of sodium. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. If you're poor and this is all you can afford, which I have been there, probably still there sometimes, let me tell you, you're hurting yourself further to be poor. And it's costing you more money to go into a system that will further put you in debt. That's insane. And this guy is like, no, we need to make it more market-based. And our food is actually good, actually. Yeah, true. Like all of our stuff. And the thing, sodium preserves too. Sodium is a type of preservative in a lot of ways. Like it helps to preserve a lot of things. It's not its main function, obviously. But like, yeah. I talk about, like, that's what I meant when I was bringing up the corn subsidy thing. Like, corn syrup is incredibly bad for you. It's incredibly bad. And the only reason we switched to corn syrup is because we overproduced corn, because we subsidized the fuck out of it to hold up an industry. It's insane. And this guy's like, it's a good thing. Nah, it's good that our food is cheap. I'm not going to look into why. Like, that's what I brought it up.
The thousand again, right? And those are fucking good. Those are really good quality, right? But if I like go into an American grocery, I can fucking spend like $1 and get like, you know, crisps or fucking what have you. I don't know. I'm not explaining it very well.
You get the whole fucking sandwich. Chips are actually, even for the smallest bag of chips, it's more than $1.
Okay.
Yeah, just to give you an idea of how cheap it is.
You're right.
I don't know where.
Yeah, I did want to bring up, because like someone, Vivian, you know, she says crisps are chips in the U.S. Okay, and chips are fries. You know, if you don't know all that. But like to get like if you walk into a store and you have $1 and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get a small bag of chips, you're not gonna get them. You're just not. It's like. So they used to be they were 99 cents when I worked at the first time I worked at 7-Eleven in 2004. Okay, to give you an idea, and at that time they were moving in bigger bags for $1.29. The $1.29 bags no longer exist and are completely replaced by the original 99-cent bags, and their amount did not increase. But now they're like, I think they're up to like $1.49 for a bag. And they're the same size as the 99-cent bag. Like, that's something that I was trying to bring up. Cuz like, no, it's actually really expensive. I mean, you can get off-brand shit for a little cheaper, but like if you go in and you're like, I want some fucking Lay's or I want some fucking Doritos, guess what? You're paying a lot for that. Me and wife were talking about the price of chips just the other day, but fuck chips anyways, they're gross. Oh, I love chips. I love them. I love them. I love chips and salsa. I got a whole thing of good ass salsa downstairs. Ooh.
I don't know exactly your point, Vivian, but I could spend $3 on least.
Yeah, Carpet, you know what I'm talking about.
But basically, what I was
trying your best to disagree with me on a point that she probably agrees with me on.
No. What I was saying, right, is that the variety exists in all these fucking places, right? You get shit food, you get great food, right? But like in Japan, that food's like really fucking expensive. In America, it's like relatively middling. Here in the UK, it's like super fucking cheap, actually. When I said you could get a fucking packet of crisps for $1, like you can absolutely get a packet of crisps for $1 here in the UK. You can get it for fucking like 30.
What the fuck is a packet of crisps?
Yeah,
this part is great.
Potato chips.
Harlequin,
Sorry,
you're gonna hate this.
Oh, you can get them for $1 here.
Yeah, you can't. It's just-
$1.30.
I can get it.
She's literally probably thinking about what we call fun size.
All right, I got a point to make, and I think the people on my side might crucify me for this. I don't know.
Yeah, I lost my.
But
I've been streaming for like.
I won't come down 100 years. Like,
but cheaper food, whether it be good or bad for you, has done significantly more good for America than bad, because there's a lot less people not starving to death now than there were 100 years ago. Now, I think it should start moving into a better direction now, but go ahead, Osiris.
Can I speak from a family point of view? Like, I have 4 resident kids, ones that live in my home. I can go to the stores, pay $1 for eggs that are grown in my local area, somewhere within, I guess, 100 miles of where I live. I can buy sausages for $1 something, and then I can buy orange juice for $1 something. Real orange juice, not that.
That's about what I pay here in the UK.
No. UK things are more expensive, or in much smaller volumes than what he's talking about. I lived there for 2 years.
How many sausages do you get in a pack?
What do you mean by a sausage?
Yeah, like what size?
How much orange juice per liter? Like how much do you pay like $1 or whatever for?
So that's concentrate, right?
I mean, it's a combination of poor choice. Like, I saw what you're saying about making food, but like even making food at home is pretty expensive. It's cheaper than eating out, of course. But there's a combination of, having the time to do it, which the way that we work ourselves to death actually makes it very difficult to have time to cook a meal and sleep and then go back to work. Like, it's a whole thing. And there's also that the fact that our produce is more expensive too. Our meat is more expensive. Like, that was my point in it. It's like, it may be cheaper, but it's not cheaper than it was, and that shows a flaw in the system. And what we do instead is we degrade the quality while making a thing more expensive. Yeah, and I mean, it is anecdotally, but it's also true overall. Like, it is cheaper to make food. It's just on a larger scale when it comes down to like ability to do so. Like, that's more what I'm saying. Like I got what you were saying. Like, if I came off as like an asshole that whole night, it's because that guy put me in a bad fucking mood. Like, he sucks so bad.
Probably so. Yeah, probably so. At that cost, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that's frozen from concentrate, just so you know, Vivian.
Wait. Fucking really? I can go to my local supermarket right now and get like freshly squeezed orange.
I wanted to bring this up to Osiris. Like, I tried to look up at my local supermarket like how much it costs for even concentrate orange juice, and yeah, you can't get it for $1 here. Like, it's $2.19 for just like one cheap. We have Meyer brand orange juice from concentrate in a little can. Like, I tried my best to be like, hey, let's find this. Let's find the different things that are $1. Like, maybe we can find something close to that. Nope, I couldn't. I tried really hard. Like, I don't know if it's just a difference in Michigan versus Georgia, but like, how many grams? Anyone we would have to do a lot of math there. Okay, so I'm gonna attempt this. Half gallon is $1.50 here in Texas. Here, I guess it's because we're not close to anywhere that grows. Oh, I forgot you're in Texas. I thought you were in Georgia, because you talk about Georgia a lot. Yeah. No, we don't use the metric system. We're dumbasses. If anyone wants to tackle that. I know.
This is already litigated.
$1.50.
Google this shit. And the
So,
answer is,
so Mark,
You're talking over her. She's making good points. Like,
hey, so
okay.
Mark, when I
Well, it's
say
just trying to work out what's the comparison. You say that
So-
there's like a greater variety of food available. at cheaper
I'm
prices.
about to tell you. Hold on, I'm about to tell you my situation. So what about the concentrate? The concentrate is deconcentrated concentrate, meaning that it's already deconcentrated into a jug, so it looks like it's a bigger jug, right? So
Well, yeah, I understand how orange juice from concentrate works. Yeah.
Well, I mean, some people like maybe
it's
I'm
cool.
old.
We have
Maybe I'm
different- we
old
have
'cause when I
different-
think of concentrate.
I mean, some of it is, yeah. But like, if you look at like a bag of chips, it's going to be measured in ounces, like as opposed to anything else. Ounces and pounds.
I think in the little cans.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking you were talking about.
Yeah, because
that's
Mark
the-
was
that's
saying
the
that.
only-
Mark was saying that.
Yeah, I was
that-
thinking
that's the only
like-
things for $1
like-
that I can get near me.
Like
No, but-
like Sunny D or whatever, right? That's what you're talking about.
Sunny
like
D, no, Sunny D's not orange juice. That's
yeah.
it is orange juice, but
Sunny
it's
D's actually more expensive than that.
I was
Yeah,
trying to think of something that we have in common, like a product.
no,
that
we're
we have.
talking real orange juice,
But like,
okay?
but like, okay, real orange juice, freshly squeezed, that hasn't been fucking
I
concentrated.
don't know what freshly squeezed means because I don't know when it was squeezed.
It means squeezed into a fucking bottle and never concentrated, right? Like, I can get that shit here in the UK for like.
This is when I
$1.50.
was searching for the orange juice.
And again, and by the
I
way, it's
pulled up
also worth
my, shipped order.
mentioning, please. In the UK, it's also a free market for food. This is not worth litigating so much. What
But
is
I mean,
worth pointing out is
it was like better than anywhere else in the world.
food is like an example of the kind of thing that is entirely important for everyone to have, that can kill you if you don't have it, and that socialist countries have killed people on the basis of not being able to provide. This is the kind of thing that we cannot lead to socialism. This is the kind of thing that is best.
He said the meme, guys. He said the meme. He said the meme. Oh my god. He said the meme. He said the socialist countries couldn't provide food and so many millions died because he said the meme. Oh, and he was serious. He said that. Holy fuck. Press X to doubt. I'm trying to make the face from that meme. Oh my god.
In free markets, you will never find a place where there's a non-free market for food and it's cheaper.
I just want to rewind. I don't know what you guys are on about, but I'm just gonna say that I can get healthy amounts of regular food. I do live in the South. I do live near lots of dairy farms, lots of agriculture. I don't know what the rest of the United States looks like with access to that, but eggs cost me a fucking $1 for a dozen large eggs. Okay, and orange juice is relatively cheap, and sausage is relatively cheap. I can feed my family one meal for less than $4. Now, if you don't like to cook, that's a different thing. If you want to feed your family in 30 seconds, well, that's on you. I don't know.
I feel like
cost.
I feel like the big difference between food being a market and then pharmaceuticals is if you had to eat food, you could do it without buying it. I mean, you really could. And I think that the fact that they market food and sell it the way they do is because it's the convenience, right?
I don't know if you could do that.
Well, maybe not in the UK because you guys have killed off all your animals.
I think Frames is right. I think a lot of Americans pay for convenience, and that's why the cost spikes so high. People want their food fast, and they want it ready to make.
Not having to dumpster dive. I have friends that dumpster dive, and they save a lot of money on food. But I mean, they have to jump in a fucking dumpster in order to do it.
Hey, I'm sorry, guys, but yeah, I just wanted to say, thank you so much for the raid, Trashcan1312. Thank you for following all the people that are following. Gucci Gang, you know I love you. 1312 Simulacra, Kiddo Dave, awesome. Thank you very much. I hope you have fun here. Sorry,
I heard so many familiar names in that. I love it.
I gotta acknowledge the raid. You know, like random people just type in the chat, but I gotta acknowledge the raid. Thank you so much. Have a good.
In my years of raising,
I'm not kidding either.
I would say
I have friends that dumpster dive and saves them a lot of money.
Down. It's stagnated in price.
I ain't interested.
Because money has become a bit better. Food is easier to obtain. And
I
I'm
disagree
for
with that. Things have actually gotten more expensive. Like having
Food
worked
prices
in
are
retail,
going down.
like I've watched those things go up exponentially.
But what things are we talking about? Basic agriculture, like eggs, milk, and that sort of thing. Or
eggs have stayed about the same. Yeah, eggs
eggs are the
eggs
same.
are relatively
But
cheap.
I cook,
but
I
like
cook for
you know
my
things
family.
like
Basic stuff though.
milk has jumped
eggs.
around. Milk has jumped around in price. Meat has gotten more expensive.
Sprint's holiday deals are so big, I need help spreading the
Okay.
Produce in general,
Meat
if
has
you're
gotten
getting
more
if you're getting fresh produce, that
Effective
has gone up,
altruist? What do you mean by
pretty,
that?
pretty highly. Like really, cereal has gone up. There's a number of things that have gone up, and there are some companies that do things to save money on the products to maintain a constant price. Like Arizona teas, they cost 99 cents.
I'm not a big theory
cutting
guy.
away at how much aluminum is in their cans. So you're getting the same
You're gonna
amount of
have to
tea.
speak in more general.
That is innovation.
Hold on, but Mark,
But that's one
Profit
company that doesn't.
driven innovation leading to a lower use of resources and a lower carbon cost. Again,
And eventually they're not going to be able to provide that because the cost is going to be too much, and they're going to have to raise their prices. They have acknowledged
Eventually.
this.
But in the meantime, what they've done is use the profit motive to innovate, reduce the material costs. It's also interesting to note almost every type of raw material is getting used less now in America than it was 10 or 15 years ago.
Hold on.
And
I don't want to. Hold on. Before we go on this tangent, I want to go back.
I brought up the Arizona cans for a reason, to show like the inefficiencies in the free market. Because literally, they're cutting away in order for Arizona cans to stay 99 cents. They're cutting away at the amount of material for the can. Meaning, eventually, they're not going to be able to provide the can. And he's like, see, that's innovation. That's a good thing. It's like, wait a minute. Eventually, they're going to have to raise their prices. Because eventually, they're going to run out of aluminum. They're not going to have a container. That's a bad thing. And when they have to switch to a different container, guess what? The price is going to go up to where everyone else is. Yeah, it is really good for recycling, but I mean, when they provide it, they cut away at each can's amount of aluminum to fit those costs in order to provide it for 99 cents, and they do that at a loss. Like, they make very little profit off of it. Because they're doing it because they're principled. Now, if they chose to chase after profit, yeah, they could do that. They would just change the container, or they would keep the amount of aluminum the same. Like, seriously, that's a bad thing. And they do make it from recycled aluminum. I will agree with that. But the problem here is when they recycle it and they make the new cans to adjust for the price in order to make sure that it can be 99%. Pretty soon they're going to be like, holy shit, these cans just, like, if you stack them, they just burst out. When you pressurize them, they just burst out. Because we're at a point where we can't provide we can't provide a proper container at this price. We're going to have to raise prices. That's why I brought that up. And he's like, see, it's innovation. It's like, no, it's a temporary solution to a problem that's going to get increasingly worse. And he can't see that. Because he's like, no, this is a good thing. What? Bruh.
Back to the food part. I agree with you, Mark. You're right. There's certain things that some meats have cost more depending on the region of the country you live in and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. But I would argue that if you were to select food in a more, not you personally, but people would select food in a more wiser manner. You can still get food really cheap. Especially a lot of people are reluctant to cook or don't have the time to cook, et cetera, et cetera. Their food costs have gone up. And when you look at the measurements for food costs,
you said it, Osiris. I don't know how I missed that.
That factor. Because
I had
people
this weird fucking experience watching this girl on YouTube recently who does she did like trust me, this is coming around to a point, but she did like diets from like World War II and like the 60s and like the 80s, just like living on like what they ate for at that time, and the difference in like how much you would spend. Like you would spend literally fucking pennies on some of these diets. You would spend like maybe $5. You could get the shit that she ate in a fucking week.
She always does look
crazy,
really tiny.
Actually, what people used to live off and what
I
we live off
really
now.
wonder like
her
how like
calorie
tall she
intake has
is.
gone up so much.
Yeah, you can't compare the 50s and the 60s to today. They just not comparable.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm about to call a timeout here. I'm about to call a timeout. I need to go to bed, guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
Um,
I was
so
getting ready to hop off soon. I was trying to find a good spot to like plant the flag and just. I was supposed to go to bed an hour ago. I was like, I'm going to do an hour and then I'm going to take off.
Peef,
I'm like moving into my 11th hour, and my longest ever stream was like 12 and a bit hours. So, like, you're really fucking me here, guys.
well, I'm gonna rate into you. I'll rate into you.
Real quick. If I could go ahead and just do a thing and then.
Oh, what? You're right into me? We can just stay in the fucking.
No. He can do that.
Yeah, you guys can stay in the whereabout all you want. Anybody that wants to stay in the whereabout?
I'm gonna take off. I just wanted to say this real quick just to like get it out of the way. Like I came in hot because.
Okay, so I want you guys to pay attention not only to what I say here, but how I say it. Like this is my attempt to be like, okay, look, I realize I may have been a little shitty. I may have been a little bit angry. I'm going to offer this olive branch, and I recognize that there are some deficits in what you know, and we can help you. You know, I can guide you to these things that you can learn more about. You know, let's work together and find a good solution, because I think you're capable of learning these things. I don't think you're completely stupid. I think you buy into stupid ideas. There's a difference. Okay, so pay attention to this. This is important. This is the end. This is my favorite part too. Because, oh my God.
You know, I don't like hearing the completely counterfactuals that happen when a lot of people talk about healthcare. I really think you need to read some very differing materials. You'd find an actual treasure trove on healthcare, and you have to keep in mind the human costs to things like, you know, saying, oh well, let's keep markets, let's keep the bar so low that it's just barely above, you know, I don't know, fucking Somalia or something. Like, you really need to take the time to do a little bit more reading, talk to some people who have actually suffered from the healthcare system. Hi, I'm one of them. I've also worked in it. I know a lot about it on almost every single end, and you know, just don't believe everything you read from people who benefit from you not being able to make your life better. It's chances are they're full of shit. Then they don't actually care. They just want to find a new way to earn money. So always take that into account, people.
All right, if everyone's going to have a parting shot on the way out, then I get my parting shot at them on their way out, too. So
I was very nice. I thought it was very nice.
Yeah, I didn't think that was very nice.
So before you try and light me up, I would appreciate.
I'm not going to light you up. I'm just going to explain how everything you said is, again, you don't know what my background is. You don't know why I ended up believing in markets. You don't know that I used to have my fucking MySpace said the most liberal you'll ever meet. Okay.
Believing in markets.
Liberals believe in markets. I don't believe in markets for necessities. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, we just talked about food, and we talked about how food is so much cheaper in free market countries. But anyway,
I talked about how a lot of it is actually more expensive, but you know, okay.
Not as a real price, no. not as
Oh, a
related
real
to
price as
Yes,
opposed to the
Oh
fake
boy.
price. I
Oh
see.
boy.
Okay, you just literally proved that you're ignorant of economics in this
I'm
case.
gonna
There's
mute
real
for a
price
minute
that
so they
we're
can't hear me.
determining
Thanks
about
to
the
everyone
actual
who's came
cost
by
relative to
tonight.
wages. But anyway,
As soon as we're done here, I'm gonna raid over into
well,
Vivian.
then-
Go ahead and insult us and bail.
I'm not going to insult you, and I'm not going to bail. I'm last one
You
out.
already
here.
had a couple times, but yeah.
I don't know.
I'll
I mean,
leave.
as soon as Freems hands control of the room over to me, you are bailing.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
that's the reason why he shouldn't hand it over to you. But the again,
I don't know. I'm just bored of this fucking.
can I get my fucking parting shot? Okay,
I
parting
don't
shot.
know.
It's just gonna be a enlightening of your
Get
assumptions
ready.
you made about me. I have read far more about nationalized healthcare than you have read about free market healthcare. This is such a strong point that I don't think you could name one single economist by name who believes in free market healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Milton Friedman.
Oops. Living economist.
You wait. Did you just say? Can you repeat that?
just always through the fucking goalposts. Oh my god. Look, I have to go to bed. I don't even want to hear your shot because all it's going to do is carry on for another hour. I have no interest because, oh my god, you were so full of shit. Everyone, I love you. Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night, Mark.
Oh, Bob, Mark.
Jesus Christ. Oh shit, Rocketansky's going as
I want to
well.
assume that